only done, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Breaking news, Carolina Panther fans. The Panthers have or are closing in a deal to hire the former Bucs offensive coordinator Dave Canales as their head coach, according to Ian Rappaport. This news broke about 1 hour ago. The first-time offensive coordinator with his good work in Tampa this year, particularly with getting the most out of Baker Mayfield, stood out. And now Dave Canales is on the way to try to replicate that with Bryce Young. The Carolina Panthers are making moves, and C3 is here to talk about it. Cody Lack, Dave Canales, the I guess momentum started to build in this past week. We had rumors of Slowick. We had rumors of Ben Johnson, but that news sort of dissipated. Dave Canales now going to be the Panthers head coach, and really kind of a rocket ship ascendancy for this guy who had been passed over, and what he had described as he was upset that he was passed over as play caller in Seattle. He got his shot in Tampa, made the most of it there, and now we've got a nice young offensive head coach that's gotten a lot out of a lot of quarterbacks to try to help Bryce Young moving forward. Cody Lack, your response to the news, Dave Canales as the new head coach for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, man. Listen, I feel all the momentum has been building towards this the past few days, especially after we found out that Dan Morgan would be the general manager of the Carolina Panthers. We know that they had a connection with one another. And listen, I choose to be optimistic. This is the younger offensive-minded head coach and play caller that we're going to be able to pair with Bryce Young for the foreseeable future. How he was able to turn around the career trajectory of Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, I feel is very impressive. He's been around high-caliber wide receivers in the forms of DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett. He understands the type of weapons to get an offense going. I understand a lot of fans are going to have that type of mindset of, well, I'm not going to be happy until we find something to be happy about regarding him. But when you listen to his interviews, you can tell that he's very intelligent. He understands the offensive side of the football, and it sounds like he has that leadership quality to him. So if I'm being honest, I'm excited, man. I know he wasn't the number one choice for a lot of people, but I feel like this is a good hire for the Panthers right now at this point in their rebuild.
CK, I'm going to trust at Panthers 24_7 on this tweet. I haven't double checked these figures. He said Tampa's offense last year, 20th ranked in total offense, 23rd yards per game, 20th in yards per play, 14th passing net yards per attempt, 16th scoring percentage, 32nd in rushing, 32nd in rushing yards per attempt. How does a offense for a team, or how does a guy that was on a team that went 9-8 become the head of the Carolina Panthers?
There's two rules of thought. Either it's all about what he did with Baker and seeing that Baker Mayfield came in here, had a career year under this offense, and we saw that we were not able to do that with Baker when he was here. So there could be a level of excitement around that, or this just tells you how shallow we were on candidates that were actually willing to come here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is that there's been much has been made on this podcast and around the league of how desirable this job was. We talked about the Carolina Panthers probably having to reach a little deeper in the well than some of the other teams like the Chargers, who have reached an agreement now with Jim Harbaugh. It's not necessarily the most glamorous job taking over a team that's 2-14, had the worst offense in the history of my watching football, it felt like, or the worst team in the Carolina Panthers history. On top of that is that you are trying to get a guy, hopefully, I mean, you're going to have to find a guy that isn't the number one sexiest pick, but is a little ahead of the coaching cycle. I saw some people mention that this is next year. If Dave Canales was returning to Tampa and had another year under his belt and had success, he would be a top coaching candidate in the likes of a guy like a Ben Johnson going forward. The Carolina Panthers have decided to go with Dave Canales, and it looks like that trajectory in his work with quarterbacks has been a lot of it. Cody, you brought this to our attention maybe last week or so, is that history that Dave Canales of success with getting the most out of some of these players. Russell Wilson's statistically best years, Geno Smith, off the shelf, a bust of bust, a guy that was forgotten, goes and becomes the comeback player of the year, threw for 4,000 or 5,000 freaking yards, it felt like. No,
Yeah.
it's 3,800 yards. Oh, no.
But that was, so in 2022, Geno Smith went for 4,282 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. I mean, this guy, in his time as a passing game coordinator or an offensive coordinator, he has put up results each and every time. And something else that we need to mention, too, is that he has been very glowing of Ejiro Evero in this build up to when the Buccaneers were going to play the Panthers. So in my opinion, this probably symbols that they're going to look to retain Evero if they can. I don't necessarily think Evero is getting a head coach job this go around. So it might mean some more continuity in our defense. And I really do think that instead of doing a full teardown like a lot of fans have been hoping and wishing for, this is more of a retooling than a rebuilding from the front office perspective. You promote Dan Morgan. You're looking to probably keep your defense as same as you can. And now you bring in a coach that is really going to turn your team, hopefully, into a much more proficient and prolific passing attack. Tony fans are already buzzing of, well, does this mean that we're an option for someone like Mike Evans, who has a history with Canales, who might want to come here? A lot of different doors of possibilities could open up now that we have a Dave Canales on our team.
Some of the concerns, let's continue to break down Dave Canales' success and some of the concerns that people have had with him. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if you look at it from the face, those statistics, like I read off of 20th total ranked offense, dead last in rushing in this league, some of those seem like red flags for an offense. But this team really improved throughout the semester. Not the semester. I just left work. I was in school throughout the season. And we mentioned, like CK said, getting the best out of Baker Mayfield seemingly was a big part of that. But I think if you look at Canales' work in just the vacuum of those statistics, it could be misleading, right? One of the things is they continued. Look, Tampa Bay has been dead last in rushing for a long time now. They have not been a good rushing team. And one of the reasons that they were excited about when Canales came in, that of trying Todd Bowles, a defensive coach, trying to get a more balanced offense. And Canales has been really committed to the running the ball and making that a part of the game, regardless of how statistically successful was. Now, if you look at those stats, I think a lot of the problems with those rushing yards or the lack of rushing success came early in the season. the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, what they did do is improve throughout the season. I think they won 5 out of their last 7 games to then win the NFC South again to make a playoff run. The Tampa Bay's run game improved from year to year. From the previous year, they were averaging about 10 more yards per game in the running game. Now that's not like crazy, but on top of that, they were at towards the end of the season, I think over the last 7 games, what's his name, Rashawn White, their running back, I might have ruined his first name, but was getting
Rashad White.
Yeah, he was getting 100 yards total from scrimmage. So his success and his incorporation from the backfield wasn't always just in handoffs, but they were getting involved in the screen game, in the passing game. So they were hitting kind of 100-yard benchmark for their running back. So you might not say that's a running game, but that's utilization there. And then he was averaging, I think, a touchdown per game towards the end of the season. So I think one of the things is to remember is that Tampa Bay was thought to be left for dead in the water after the Tom Brady leaving. And you see some of their offensive line, a lot of struggles the year before. In fact, this season, they moved a guard to tackle. They had a first time center, a guy who had never played center before, and I believe either a second year or a rookie right tackle. So this team, and this offensive line got better throughout the season, right? They found a way to continue to improve. And I think that that's important for a first-time coordinator is that, man, can you just come onto the scene, bust onto the scene, and be the most prolific offense in the league? That's a difficult that's a tall task. But to get better and better each week, right, to continue to try to have that balanced offense, to be committed to the run, I think those are some things that are to put some of those statistics in perspective. Baker Mayfield's top season as a quarterback. On top of that, I think what we need to really consider here is some of the statements that Dave Canales has made about how an offense and a team should run. And I think what we hear is that he understands the importance of being under center. He understands the importance of running the ball to keep secondaries off, honest. But what he is not is, I feel like, ideologically handcuffed to a style of football. What he has been articulate in is trying to make an offense. We don't want to say quarterback friendly. I would say quarterback specific, player specific. And that is trying to find an offense that caters, or what he says makes your quarterback comfortable to where he can then play fast. And look, Baker Mayfield, he is that kind of Brett Favre, gun it downfield, take risks type of player. That's where his strengths are. And what they did is they built an offense that catered towards Baker Mayfield's strengths. One of the concerns, Cody, about Dave Canales that people have articulated is lack of pre-snap motion.
Yes.
Right? We talked about this a lot when it came to the Carolina Panthers. We were hoping this past season with Thomas Brown coming from that Sean McVay system would have some of those looks and some of those kind of wrinkles to the team. But there was a lot of criticism of Frank Reich's offense when it came to the static routes, the kind of traditional, setup of some of it. Dave Canales' offense, do you think it's too simple?
No, I wouldn't say too simple, Tony, but you just mentioned how he's able to match the personnel and the style of the offense to what will best produce points. And if you look at some of the guys that he's had that he's been able to coach, right? You think of Mike Evans, you think of Chris Godwin. They do a good job of getting the football out to the running backs. This is a team that has the opportunity to do some of those things, and they had the luxury of not being able to have to do so much speed and motion and things like that. I think the talent level of our team is something that he should be able to adjust to. And that's why this offseason is so important. And it's such a good thing that now we have our GM and head coach in tow. So now everyone can look forward to the free agency period, identifying what type of receivers that they need to genuinely upgrade this offense, be it through the free agent period or through the draft, targeting someone that will be able to come in and be that number one type of receiver for Bryce. I think that's one of the most important things for this entire organization going forward this offseason. So I'm not necessarily worried about the lack of motion because I think the results speak for themselves. He was on some very prolific offenses in his time as a passing game coordinator and as an offensive coordinator. He's had some good quarterbacks he's been able to coach as well. But thinking of how much we've invested into Bryce Young at this point, in our rebuild, you had to have someone that was going to put Bryce in a position to be successful. And looking at his track record with other quarterbacks, he seems like the type of guy that could potentially get the most out of Bryce and help him with some of the struggles that he was having last year. And I think that's one of the biggest points of optimism for me when it comes to Dave's hire.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, breaking coverage of the Carolina Panthers selecting their next head coach. This will be the third head coach chosen by David Tepper, and now trying to find a way to create some positive momentum going forward. CK, one of the things that people, again, we can look at these statistics in a vacuum. We can look at some of these things in just isolation. Are these buzzwords? Are they real critiques and criticism? One of the things that I have read is that the pre-snap motion was something that wasn't catering to Baker's style of play. And that's why it wasn't a part, not because he wasn't comfortable or capable or his offense wasn't like that. How do you see Dave Canales trying to continue to cater to his talent? You brought this up. Baker Mayfield couldn't get it done in Carolina. Man, he's on his fourth team now from the Browns. They felt like they couldn't get over the hump. He goes to Carolina, a discard, was terrible here, or at least part of the terribleness. Somehow he goes to the Rams and throws like a 500-yard passing game or 5-touchdown game and one on his first day. A cast off again in Tampa Bay. He got a lot out of him. Your thoughts on him being able to cater to that personnel?
I think that his ability, what happened in Tampa Bay, granted the numbers of total offense and rushing offense may not be flashy, but what he was able to do with Baker Mayfield was nothing short of miraculous, right? We saw Baker Mayfield when he doesn't have things tailored to him. And now whether it just happened to be a good match or whether it was Canales being able to scheme an offense that was going to allow his quarterback to thrive, those are questions that I think we're going to have to wait and see. This was his first time being an offensive coordinator. And so there isn't a specific, there's nothing we can point to say that there's evidence beyond 1 year that he's able to do this. I am reluctantly optimistic about this. Mainly that run game, in my opinion, is going to be a key part of what is going to allow Bryce Young to be successful. And if he is not able to scheme a run game that is going to allow Bryce not to have to throw the ball 40 times a game, I don't see how this is going to help him. Now, if you're a believer in Bryce, that's the question mark. If you're not a believer in Bryce, then this is going to open up the potential for a guy who has a big arm down the line to be able to come in here and have immediate success under an offense run by Canales. I just don't know that there's enough evidence to support his ability to do what's necessary for Bryce Young to be the guy moving forward.
Well, again, everybody's going to nitpick this. I understand. I think we all understand that he wasn't the first choice for a lot of people. But again, and we played this last time we were live, but to what you were saying, CK, about him being able to change and adjust, I wanted to play this video clip of Dan Canales speaking exactly about his ability to change and what type of offense he's been in. Tony, I wanted to take a real quick moment to highlight some action we've got going on. My man D, always showing the love. Became a brand new member on YouTube. D, you know we appreciate you, brother. In a little bit, we'll let some people on and react with us, and I think we're going to do some cat calls as well. And then Jerry with the 499 says, I feel McVay revitalized Mayfield before going to Tampa Bay. Canales is a rookie head coach. Dan Quinn would have been better. I disagree with you there, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, I think if any of the defensive names that started to buzz right at the last second were Vrabel, but I saw a clip today of Vrabel on Bussing with the Boys, where who's the guy that's not Taylor Lewan?
Taylor Lewan and
who's the other guy?
I'm blanking.
They were straight ready to. He was gonna he said, "I'll fight you right now."
Yeah,
he said, yeah. I mean, like the guy who's like, you can't beat. They said, Taylor Lewan said he had his money on the other guy, and Vrabel said we can go right now, move these mics out right now.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if Vrabel was just going to be too much. We heard some murmurs of his ego coming in, but this is really, I think the Carolina Panthers are making a commitment, and we saw that. I'm on the board of why Dan Morgan. I know exactly why Dan Morgan was promoted to president of football operations and general manager, because Dave Tepper needs to be 100% assured that the front office is fully committed to Bryce Young and trying to get him a successful future in Carolina. Whether that future pans out or not, we can't say, but he needs to be assured that the front office believes he is the future, and whoever their coach they were going to hire needs to believe that too. Here's Dave Canales talking about his offense.
How that goes for him.
Just some context to the question. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had been a lot more successful running the football, and the question was, did they make that a point in their training and during practice to pound the rock?
I never really go into a game saying we're going to pound the rock or saying, hey, we're going to spread it out and rip them. I try to go into the game and say, what are they giving us today? And then, this was going back to Pete, the way that he trained me. He was like, we were always known as a running team, playing good defense and a running team. But for him, he was never telling our coordinators like, hey, you got to establish the run. That was never his message. He was like, I don't care about that. Score points, take what they're giving you. And the guys that I respect around the league, I won't start rattling names because I'll miss somebody, but the guys that I watch and that I respect around the league, that's what they do, and if it's a day where we're moving them up front, the backs aren't getting tackled and we're getting 6s and 7s early, man, it's going to be a good running day, and if it's a day where, their defense is a little bit off in their coverages and guys are getting open, the quarterback's in rhythm, our protection looks great, man, we can go attack them in the pass game and get yards and points. So I try to approach it that way. But I'm glad the guys were fired up about trying to get after him in the run game. That's the attitude we want,
Yeah, man, I love it, Tony. I've said that the more that I hear him talk about offense and how he views things, I love it, man. I think our offense gets so stuck in recent years. I really like how he talks about football, how he sees the football field. And I think, again, I know it isn't necessarily evidence, CK, but I think that in a short amount of time, hearing him talk about his ability to just adjust to whatever puts up points makes me a lot more hopeful that he'll be able to make some of these mid-season adjustments that we've basically failed to see other Carolina Panthers head coaches make in the very near past, So, and by the way, shout out to our man D for gifting 5 memberships to the C3 fam.
What a
D,
great gift.
We love you, brother. You're the man, dude.
Sanford supporting us for $1.99. You can continue to help us create content like this. Breaking news that the Carolina Panthers are hiring Dave Canales. I wanted to also remind the numbers 252-228-5098. We're about to open the show up to fans. I do want to talk about this real quick before we do that. Connor Orr, Sports Illustrated, wrote this piece called Dave Canales' Journey from Cowboy Boot Salesman to NFL Head Coach Candidate. And what he does here is talk about some of the things that he has done in Tampa Bay, and one of the as a first-year play caller. Now, it's kind of two ways to read it. Do you get the most out of Baker, or did you just get a offense that was really easy and just ripping it downfield to Mike Evans? Like, hey, how do you stop a guy who's 225 pounds, 6'5", and can catch the ball? This is what Connor Orr talked about in some of the success and some of the things that you can see in this offense. He writes, Mayfield could always rip a football, hitting deep out-breaking routes better than most passers in the NFL. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were incredibly experienced and cerebral. Harold Goodwin, the run game coordinator and assistant head coach, had the ability to create a running game that suited Rachaad White out of the shotgun while featuring an athletic offensive line, and marry that to a quick passing game that Tampa had installed to manufacture touches for their best receivers. Gone was a lot of the duo-based running game that the Buccaneers had featured during their Super Bowl run. In the scheme, there seems to be flavors of Dallas and Brian Schottenheimer, Minnesota and Kevin O'Connell, Seattle and Shane Waldron, Green Bay and Matt LaFleur, and Cincinnati and Zach Taylor. But the personal touches appear to come in the way Canales sets up a defense for failure. Evans and Godwin can run any route available, and because of that, they have run almost every variation out of every personnel setup, forcing defensive backs to hesitate at the moment when a receiver commits to one direction. It's a philosophy, he writes, that is more commonly used out of necessity by teams that don't have players like Evans who could win on most routes. Canales, like Ben Johnson in Detroit, has taken that theory and applied it to more elite playmakers. He goes on and he continues to cite how this happened, or it could be seen on Christmas Eve against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where Evans was getting into his routes and slashing like a slashing guard approaches the paint, dribbling with his eyes ahead, moving defenders mentally first. Evans looks confident because each route begins with an identical preamble, placing the defender in a situation similar to a goalkeeper during a penalty kick, right? They have to, forcing them to make an educated guess. He goes on and basically celebrates how this play design, he goes on, this is really kind of the meat of what he's talking about right here. He said on a touchdown right before the half, Evans was lined up wide to the left. There was less than a minute remaining, so the Jags were protecting the sideline. Evans started chugging up the field, blanketed by two defenders, one preventing him from breaking toward the sideline, running a route he and Mayfield seemed to hit unconsciously with regularity, and one buffering him from breaking toward the middle. So they're bracketing Mike Evans. They know that's what they like to do. And Canales has been open about saying you have to have a starting point for an offense. You got to have some guys right there that you think this is how our offense should flow when it is flowing, right? When we can dictate the stakes. Canales' call had tight end Cade Otton also on the left side, running a much slower developing route, outbreaking route. The break in Otton's route synced up perfectly with a decision point in Evans' route as to whether he would muscle the sideline, break in, stop and turn, or keep going vertically. The Jags defender protecting Evans from breaking inward had to, he writes, darted towards the wide open Otton, vacating the middle of the field entirely. Now all that remained, covering one of the best receivers in football, was one defender shielding the sideline. So I think this kind of play design, Mayfield then goes on to hit him for a touchdown pass right here. So I think you can see, like he says, that, well, look, Canales simply has a knack for executing some perfect deep shots in critical situations. So one of the things I think that Dave Canales' offense is simple, but I think football can be simple too. And one of the things we have been missing in this spread them out offense that we have run now for what, 4 years, going back to Joe Brady and Teddy Bridgewater, was a downfield passing attack. And Canales wants to push the ball vertically. They're committed to that. My last question before we move on to some of the other things is, and you can respond to some of the things I read there if you'd like, is this too determinant on having some freaking awesome weapons?
Well, I think that's everyone's fear right now, is that we are completely lacking of a Mike Evans type of a player. But again, that's also why you have this optimism from some Panther fans that maybe seeing as how Dave is the perfect guy to understand the importance of a Mike Evans, who also happens to be a free agent, I believe, that he would go out and potentially pound the table to bring Mike here to be that veteran.
Mike would go to his entire entire career in Tampa Bay to go to a division?
Let me tell you why. Well, again, it hasn't been as I would say this: if he has a great trust of Dave Canales and what he's able to build this offense into, and the fact that he could be that go-to guy for a young wide receiver, yeah, I really do think that it is possible. I don't know if it's guaranteed to happen, but yeah, especially now, seeing what they were able to do with Baker Mayfield and that offense last year, yeah, that would not surprise me at all. And if we look at Bryce last year, he was overthrowing a lot of those receivers. So again, it's that mindset that if you have a bigger body receiver with that wider catch radius, that it's going to benefit Bryce on some of those throws. But Tony, you were mentioning just how he's able to get guys open. Mike Kay also put on Twitter that he spoke with a veteran NFL position coach who says Dave Canales is an excellent play caller. He brings a lot of energy to the meetings with players. He's very positive. He's an uplifting kind of guy. He's easy to get along with, easy to talk to, easy for guys to play for. He says about his offense that he's very sophisticated on his screen packages, play action passes, and more importantly, marrying the run game and the pass game together. They say that he's one of the best young minds in football today. He would go on to say, I can't believe that he just called plays for 1 year with the product that he was able to put out in Tampa. He's very impressive. He's the right type of guy to go through a rebuild with. So marrying the run and the pass, being an aggressive offense, as you were kind of outlining in that article, I think this could be the perfect thing for us. And hopefully he has that right eye to identify the right type of receivers to be able to bring in this offseason, which is so important.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast coverage of the breaking news that the Carolina Panthers fired Dave Canales, of the former offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as their new head coach. Only 1 year of experience calling plays. Right now, he's going to have to take over a team that has been in disarray, that is in shambles, but trying to find a direction with Bryce Young as their future. The number's 252-228-5098. We encourage you to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the show. Thank you for all the people in the chat today that are contributing. Thank you to D. Thank you for the super chats. And remember, we're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. One of the best things you can do right now, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Twitter, hit the repost. Make us the most reposted tweet in the history of Twitter. Screw Mr. Beast. He lives in my town. Maybe we need Mr. Beast to repost our Twitter, right? Maybe we should just, all y'all just tag Mr. Beast in this. Hell, just drop the link. We need to get to fans. We want the fans to be the drivers of this conversation. This is a community-based discussion. Cody, why don't we go ahead and start thinking about bringing in some fans to get some reaction about the Carolina Panthers trying to find their next head coach. Now, to me, there is a little scary part of this is an unknown. This is such an unknown, is an I don't want to say inexperienced because he's been 14 years going back. He was on Pete Carroll's staff going all the way back to USC.
He is inexperienced as a head coach. This is going to be his first foray into this. And the fact that we've already been through so much, like you're asking a lot of a first-time head coach. It makes me wonder what assurances have or haven't been made to him. But yeah, look, let's take a couple cat calls, and then we're gonna open up some. We're gonna open it up for people to join the show and actually join via StreamYard. In fact, I'll go ahead and post the link in the chat room right now so people can start to funnel in. I know I got my boy Anthony in the background. He's waiting to get in on this. But yeah, let's jump into some cat calls. The number is 252-228-5098. As Tony rushes to get the calls going.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Come on, baby. Of course. Of course it does this. You put me on the spot.
Oh, you have to load up.
It didn't again. It was like it's always. Hey, I'm not a DJ. I'm a history teacher, guys.
Hey, C3, this is your girl, Kristen. Damn, it's been a minute. I'm sorry about that, y'all. I've missed you. I've just been sick as hell the last 2 weeks, but thank God I'm finally over the ick. I don't agree with winter, apparently. Anyways, I wanted to call and voice my opinion on the new hire for head coach Canales. I think I'm saying his last name right. Anywho, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I was thinking I was cheerleading for Munkin because honestly, I didn't think we can score a younger head coach. So I'm surprised, and I'm okay with this pick for sure. And not a surprise, there are fans who are hating on this. I don't get it. Yes, Ben Johnson, Slovic, such a handsome and prettier selection, but they weren't coming here, and you all know that.
Yes.
From what I have read up on this dude and have seen, I like the guy, and that's pretty much all I really want to say about that. I didn't get to call in about Federer, so here's my delayed. Yay, he's out of here, and I wasn't surprised. I called it on Morgan, and I'm not going to hate on that. I'm neutral with that. But anyways, everyone who's just not feeling this Canales head coach hire, give it some time. That's all we really have because it's going to be a long while until we get to where we need to be. Anyways, keep pounding y'all and talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Keep pounding. Great call. Yeah, happy Kristen's been under the weather, so she's on the mend now, feeling better. We're so happy to hear that, Kristen. My mom's had the crud as well, too, so it's been going around. I'm glad you're doing better. You have any more calls, Tony?
Yeah, we do. We'll take one more short one. We've got 4 calls, but we'll do one more short one, and then we'll bring in D.
Hey, boys. How's it going? I just got the news.
Paisan.
Just hired that Canales guy. 2 weeks ago, I didn't know who the fuck this guy was. Still don't know who the fuck he is. So I'm not really that excited about it. Probably going to need a blue chew. A little dick up to get excited about it. Cody seems to like him. Cody kind of knows what the fuck he's talking about sometimes. So, I'll stay even keeled. But, I just want to put in my 2 cents, even though nobody gives a shit. But, hopefully this works out.
Give a shit, PJ.
Hopefully this works out. At least the guy's in good shape. Not like fucking Matt Rule, looking built like a fucking guinea pig. No, Italian and the top four. Where the fuck did that come from? All right, I gotta get back to work.
All right,
we're gonna need to do some research. Is Canales Hispanic?
Yes.
Because
his grandparents were immigrants. And this is really, I'm going to suggest you guys read this Dave Canales' journey from cowboy boot salesman to NFL head coach. And it talks about how he's kind of wondering about his career when Pete Carroll left USC and then went to Seattle. And he was ultimately basically his grandfather was a immigrant. His grandparents were immigrants. and they started a church. So
Oh wow, really?
yeah, and that
So,
have
dude,
grown that
the
congregation to 3,000 people.
the second Hispanic American coach in Panthers history. How about
Yeah.
that?
And
Oh,
he also wrote a book.
Who
oh,
did?
hey, listen.
Dave
Grandfather? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey,
About
look,
his
he's
relationship with his wife.
he's a very learned dude. Kristen said in her call, he might not have been one of the sexy picks, but hey, I'm as straight as a board. I'm just saying that's a handsome dude. Okay, the dude's in good shape. He's got strong shoulders. I'm just saying I'm not hating on him, man. But hey, let me bring in some of the incredible fans of the C3 podcast, man. We got my man D from Sanford in the building. D, how you doing, bro?
Oh, what's going on, homie? Cody Lack, C3 family, the great Tony Dunn, Code Dizzle. Everybody need a G, baby. Hey, Kristen Ledane, I'm glad you feeling better. Hey, that effing guy, and shut the hell up. But anyway, I've been on such an emotional roller coaster in the last 4 days. Okay, so we get through the weekend, then we start talking about Mike Vrabel coming into town. But first, I was sold on Dan Morgan about Dave Canales and their relationship that I was convinced Canales was coming. Then not even 24 hours later, I'm about damn convinced the only thing that was going to save us was Vrabel after talking to the guys on Spaces. Then I wake up this morning and now Canales is about to sign a deal. So forgive me if I'm a little shaken, but I'm excited because one thing this organization needed was a joke. We needed we needed something we could hang on to. Nobody was really thrilled about Frank Reich, with good reason, track record and so forth. Matt Rule, there was nothing to really be excited about. Canales, I'm taking the approach that I'm taking with Dan Morgan. I'm with you until you lose it. Like, I mean, what other choice do we have? And I don't want to say it that lowly, but we really, we weren't going. We weren't
Don't
getting
got no choice. We ain't got no choice.
So
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Technically, in a way, we got the smart kid in the slow class. No offense to anybody, but for some reason, the whole idea that Geno Smith's career was resurrected. Some people arguably give Canales a hand in Baker. Some people say McVay, potato. I've seen quarterbacks that people were ready to give up on or just stash at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
And they became starters and revitalized their career and got teams to at least start bridging into a way of success. So
yeah, indeed, it makes me feel better that Canales comes from a quarterback that did just that. Nobody thought anything of Geno Smith, and then he's turned it on to save his career. And I like that Dave had his hand in that too.
Right. And see, at least even though we don't have a head coaching track record, and he hasn't been but a play caller, I think, for maybe a year, we have at least seen that people that he's had his hands in have improved. Also, before I got on here, I had got on CBS Sports and they had just did a quick little thing about it, Jonathan Jones. And he said when he went down to do a USA Today article with Baker Mayfield, he said Baker Mayfield couldn't say nothing but great things about Canales. And also other people amongst the NFL think that this could actually be a great hire for us. And well, until I'm shown different, I'm gonna watch and see. But right now, today, because at least we tried to do something, we at least tried to spit some kind of life, some kind of fresh blood into the system. I am highly excited and I'm highly supportive of the hire. And now if we can just evaluate talent correctly as far as draft picks, free agents, practice squad, and so forth. Oh man, I'm ecstatic.
There's so many reasons to be optimistic. I know I got some boys taking some time off from work. Let me get my man's Anthony and White Chocolate Espresso in the
Anthony!
building. Boys, what up, man?
What's up? What's up?
Yo, Anthony, how you feeling, man? And look, we're all being optimistic, but over here at C3, man, we don't tell fans how to be a fan. If you think this is a bum hire and think that we really messed things up, let us know, man. We want to know what everybody really thinks about Dave Canales. Anthony, how you feeling about
it? To be honest with y'all, man, I got no expectations. Kind of like with Dan Morgan. I like what he did with Baker. I brought this up on the call when I called into the show. I just don't know if he's ready for all this yet. This roster is terrible. And no matter how he is the first year, he needs a pass because of the people that dismantled it from the previous seasons. I was just talking to someone, one of my close buddies who talks to some people, and he basically said that we did this because Tepper had no great options, and that's what I suspected the whole time. He had to get an offensive guy that believed in Bryce Young. That's all fine. I didn't realize that Tampa Bay's offense was kind of middle of the road. So, I'm not as optimistic as most people are. I just don't want to be hurt again by getting my hopes so high up. I'm going to take a different path on this opinion this time, and we'll see what happens. But again, I do want to preface that we don't have the receivers that Tampa Bay does or the pass blocking offensive line. So he's really got to go out and try to get some receivers, man. That's really the first priority. But other than that, I mean, I'm kind of iffy with it a little bit. I do like Canales. I like the way he speaks highly about football and things to that nature. I was one of the first people that suggested him. But just the more I looked into it, personally, I kind of copped on this Vrabel train towards the end. I thought that would have been a home run big fish hire, a culture builder, someone that we need of that. But I mean, this is the direction they took. So listen, they got to be able to evaluate some talent and put talent on this roster because this offense isn't going to work with Terrace Marshall and Adam Thielen. You can't run the same things he did in Tampa.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. I wanted to play this clip that we got of Dave Canales, and this is shared from Josh Norris. This is just a taste of what he brings to the table. And before we play it, I feel like even though Anthony kind of went about a different way of saying it than I would, we're at the same place. Because every year we get so excited, we get so hyped up about this new hire, and then it's like, well, what can you do? It's like what Dee was saying. This is the guy that we hired. And I don't even say that to demean Dave Canales because I do think that he is a really good head coach. And I do think that he is one of the promising young names to be up and coming in the coaching circle. But I'm just, when you compare him to someone who had that type of a momentum like a Ben Johnson or a Bobby Slowick, it's easy to see why a lot of Panther fans might feel kind of upset because he wasn't very highly touted until very recently. So I understand when people say, oh, we got the best of the rest. The best that the Panthers could possibly get at this point in time. And I think maybe that he does come with that low profile might actually be of benefit to us and kind of lowering the expectations for this team that he might be able to surprise us a little bit easier. Let's play this clip.
I want to make Coach Bowles proud. I want to make him right. Excuse me. Just a guy who believed in me, gave me a shot. And so for me, it's about grinding, working hard and trying to prove him right, and Jason Light too. And the whole group, it's just, it means a lot to me. It's important.
Oh yeah. Go work, teams.
He's such a positive person.
Here we go. Feet in the ground. We're playing ball.
I think it's just been awesome for him to really trust the other, trust the O-line.
Got that, Tris? You good?
He's letting us be ourselves.
Is that my end?
Yeah, it's just buffering.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm straight reading his book right now.
He's letting Baker do his thing.
Yes, sir. Hey, great shot.
Giving us a chance to move guys and open up holes for Rashad.
Their safeties are triggering like hell on duo.
His number one goal, like I always say, is to put us in the best position to win.
He came in and he did want his foundation of his system. When we were going through that lull mid-season, we stuck to it. It's like, okay, we got to get this ironed out. We got to fix the things we need to do. That's what you look for. You want somebody that says, all right, this is our bread and butter. This is what we have to be good at. And then when it comes down to game planning, he's always coming up with new ideas.
When you believe in yourself and you believe in who you are, who you've become. I'm 42 years old, been married 18 years. I got 4 kids. I know who I am. I know who my family is and how we're going to do life and what we believe in. I want the same thing for us as an offensive football team. This is who we are. This is what we're going to run. The same thing through a four-game losing streak. We're going to trust the system and get better at executing. We're going to be so dogged about the things we do. We're going to make defenses play to us.
All right, man. A little look into Dave Canales. They spoke very glowing about him, from linemen to the defensive players to the quarterbacks. Well, I'm liking what I'm hearing from them. Hey, we finally got the boy White Chocolate Espresso into the show. Kev, how are you, brother?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All this shit always drops on the days that I work.
Yeah.
Like Frank Wright got fired when I was working, and then, Fitterer got fired, and then we hired Dan Morgan, and now this.
Hey, dude, this is way more important than your work, okay? I already told you that in chat. Okay, when this happens, drop everything. Even if you're in the middle of a surgery, dude, get out of there. Get on C3,
Yeah, those, the cancer patients can wait on their teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone knows this, too. But how are you feeling about it, man? Like, do you feel this is just meh? Is this great? How are you feeling?
It's meh. I think every pick was going to be meh. Just like Dan Morgan was kind of meh. Just you look at the stats last year with the Buccaneers, it wasn't all that great.
It was meh.
It was meh. It was meh.
Who is really going to be wowing anybody right now is
Mike
if we
Vrabel.
would have got, so Vrabel would bring some strength.
Vrabel had 4 wins.
Intensity. You would have Slowick brings the
We just don't have the
excitement
players
that came
to be
with
excited
CJ
about.
Stroud.
But the point of the reason we wanted a guy like Vrabel is because he's gonna put his foot. I'm not saying Canales is already a failure or anything, but Vrabel offers what this team has been looking for: a culture builder. I just have questions about. I just feel like, and it's nothing against Canales. I called in and told this, and Tony's like, yeah, this could be too much for him. This is a lot to ask him, guys. This is honestly it's a lot to ask him. I don't realize, you guys have to understand, this roster needs to be completely rebuilt around Bryce Young.
What is your expectations? Mine's 6 wins right now.
Yeah, I'd say 5 to 6 wins, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, who you got to think the first move is you gotta go get a receiver, right? I mean,
100%.
if he wants to stretch the ball vertically, we can't do that with the current wide receivers we have. We just can't. But
The only argument I would say is Mike Evans isn't necessarily considered the fastest wide receiver. And we have a guy in Jonathan Mingo. When you look at what Sloak was able to do with Nico Collins.
Yeah.
No, Nico Collins. He wasn't, because he was a middling wide receiver at best. And so if you can have a guy able to get a concerted effort, I think a lot of the issues with our wide receivers were we were running a predictable offense. And when you look at the routes that they were having these guys run, Yes, we had some slow receivers. Yes, they weren't running great routes, and Mingo certainly wasn't out here excelling at those things. But it had a lot more to do with the fact that these guys were just running 5-yard curls, and all 4 of them just stopping in the middle of the field at the same time and not doing anything beyond that. It was very predictable, and so the hope is a guy like Dave Canales can come in here and elevate these wide receivers that we do have on the squad to be more than just 5-yard outs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to talk about a little bit and certainly we don't want to go and say that Dave Canales is destined to be the next Sean McVay or something like this. Is really the Carolina Panthers right now have been struggling to find any sort of direction or any hint of success, and now they've made one more commitment to Bryce Young and Dan Morgan, and now I think Dave Canales is another commitment to Bryce Young here. One of the things, though, is why would they hire him? Part is the other guys. Maybe some of the other candidates weren't as interested. We heard maybe Slowick wasn't as interested in the Carolina Panthers, right? We saw, is that Ben John? We're not the belle of the ball. So why did you hire Dave Canales? And I think one is, like CK started out right off the rip, is that Baker Mayfield had his best season, right? Is you took lemons and made lemonade, right? To a certain degree, or at least there was an uncertainty of Baker Mayfield's ability. No one in this room was sitting here pounding the drum saying that he was going to go throw 4,000 yards or this and that. You thought he might be getting damn benched for Kyle Trask at some point in the season. First-time play caller was able to do that. We've then next talked about his success when it came to, or his, he's been involved with some good programs. Man, he's been in the damn playoffs forever. It feels like he's been involved with Russell Wilson, Geno Smith's ascendancy and return. Now Baker Mayfield made it. The third reason, and maybe this is part of like what we've been looking for and what we have been hoping for in Frank Wright, was marrying an offensive coach with a quarterback-friendly coach to Bryce Young, right? But here is you were talking about the need to build a culture, Anthony, and how Vrabel would do that through sheer strength, right? Like it's just brute force of building a culture in a way. In some way, we've heard some stories coming out that it's not always the most well received by some of these NFL players. I've been reading this book, the sample I could get online from Google Books for free.
Yeah, I can show the picture of it too.
Listen to this though, and I think this is why we might actually have a culture builder. Right? He says this is chapter 5, and he wrote this book with his wife, right? Like in the preface, they say this is they did not look at each other's manuscript at all before they combined them. So it's kind of like her point, his point, her point, his point, like her perspective, his perspective. This is the beginning of chapter 5. I cheated on Lizzie for the first time at my bachelor party one month before we got married. From the start of our relationship, I was binge drinking and going out with my friends without Lizzie. Before I was ever unfaithful to her, I was already there in my mind. Bad habits combined with addiction made it hard for me to resist temptation. It was a pattern I knew well before we started dating. He then goes on to say, basically, when he went to Seattle, that this just got even more prevalent in his life because of traveling around. I mean, look, he's a good looking dude traveling around. He says, now I was traveling around the country to play different NFL teams, which gave me an opportunity to go out and explore the nightlife. Even as I write this, I'm on a plane heading to Cleveland, Ohio to play the Browns. He said this, and what he ultimately, I think this, the sheer honesty of this perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Deep
the
stuff.
Sheer honesty and brute honesty of that. What that is I don't think you're going to get a guy who is just telling you things to tell you things. I don't think you're going to get a guy that is going to be trying to make power politics like Matt Rule was doing. I don't think you get. I think what you might get is a culture of truth, a culture where players can trust you, a culture where players believe your perspective, believe you're authentic. And we saw this is look, the reaction. Rashad White is truly, he said, no, he's upset. He's sick that Dave Canales is leaving. You saw Baker. I think these guys, whether or not, look, the hard thing is for a young, unexperienced coach to go in there and to earn the respect of young men, of men who are paid more than they
young
are.
and old. Yeah.
And I think what is the one trait or one of the few traits that every age group and every person respects? It's honesty and authenticity, where you just know where I stand. And once you know where I stand, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm not complimenting you to compliment you. I'm not criticizing you to make myself feel better. What I am saying is truthful. And the fact you start a chapter out, he's writing this damn book with his wife.
Yeah. And they don't know what the other one is writing. Like, hey, that's brave, man. Like
the only person he lies to is his wife, basically.
No, this by the way, this book, well, I mean, it's a restoration of their marriage. Tony Dungy wrote the foreword for it.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, if Tony Dungy is writing you forward, people must think very highly of you, man. Bro, people are gonna hate me from saying this, but God, a guy like that would have been perfect for Matt Corral because he's been into drugs and shit before. But whatever, man. Look, dude, I think that this guy is somebody that has. Look, I like someone that's been through adversity. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're someone that's been spoon fed your entire life, to have been given things and have just had every opportunity, and you've never known what it's like to actually turn around from legit hardship, then again, even though it's just football, it lets me know that inevitably when your team goes to those down moments, that hopefully you're going to be able to have the type of mindset and mentality to see them through the storm out to the other side, man. And again, I know personal issues in your marriage is not the same thing as football, but the fact that you've had to go through something, you've had to go through real trying times in your life, it boils down to that how do you get other men to believe in you? That even though everyone has a personal life and things can get bad, and you have a wife who's mad at you, or sick kids, or parents that are in the hospital, that you all have to come together for one collective goal and one collective vision, and getting everyone to buy into that. It sounds like he's somebody that would be good for building that kind of culture. And we've spoken about that for so long. Who is going to be the culture builder? Who is going to resurrect that culture in Carolina? And a lot of people felt like, well, it needed to be an established head coach like a Mike Vrabel, like a Bill Belichick or a Pete Carroll or a Jim Harbaugh to be able to do that for us. But I believe that first and foremost, it's a good man that's able to build a good culture for a football team. So if he checks all those boxes, then I'm hopeful that he is the guy that's going to be able to establish a culture of winning and perseverance here in Carolina.
Yeah. I hope that David Tepper stays out of it and just lets him do what he wants. Let him go get the pieces he wants. Let him and Dan build a vision. And I said this and I'll say it again. Give him a year to kind of feel out this roster. You have to. If he wants to trade Brian Burns, he can trade Brian Burns. If he wants to do this, he can do that. I think that's the big thing. You're putting trust in this young guy who's never been a coach before. Well, put trust in him. That's what you got to do. And I think that goes along with the whole, like, if we want to build a culture and you're asking this guy to be the coach of the Carolina Panthers, then at least let him go out on his own terms. And I'd be much more satisfied knowing that, hey, even if we don't think this guy's the belle of the bell or people have doubts about him or this and that. If he's putting his foot down and he's setting up his own type of vision and he's going through the motions, like just let him go through the motions and figure it out as we go along. Because this is a hard turnaround for any coach, to be honest with you. Whether it's Mike Vrabel, whether it's Dave Canales, and trust me, I'm telling you right now, I'd be asking the same questions if we hired Bobby Slowick or Ben Johnson. I don't care that you're a highly regarded coordinator. These guys have never been coaches before. So
Yeah,
I
I
commend.
think, be honest, I think not only do I agree with you, Anthony, but in some ways, there's a little less pressure on the Canales hire to me, because if we had Ben Johnson, I'm sitting here, we're probably trying to just latch on to the hottest name and be excited, and all of a sudden the expectations of a top offense are going to come about and things like this. I think that maybe first is like, you got to get who you can get, but this might be just the type of coach that this is the right way to find one of those next coaches instead of trying to force it. You found a guy, and look, and man, these guys straight. I mean, I can't tell you. I'm gonna have to buy this book here, man. And they said this is like, they said this is not a how-to of fix your marriage. This is just that they just share their story of how. And you think if you're going through that, you got 4 kids, he's married, he's 42, he's my age. I'm 42 years old, so he's my age. And you think of all the struggles that he's probably, how about the pressure of him, but traveling, not pressure, but all the pressure that puts on a marriage. And this is what Tony Dungy talked about them, is that they persevered through that. I think you're going to need a guy who is kind of steady in that, who is rooted. I don't want to just say like Christianity is the way to go. I mean, not everybody feels that way, but rooted in good principles and good intentions, right? Instead of, I don't know, maybe I really think it's like you said, is hardship can breed, can really do some things. And like, hey, I don't know if we're going to get that ego that Vrabel brought. How about we take one more call real quick?
Yeah, let's take some calls.
What's going on, fellas? It's Corey calling in. It's been quite a minute. Haven't really had much in Panther Nation to talk about, me personally, but just wanted to give my thoughts on the new Canales hire. First things first, I mean, I kind of live in a gray area with this team anyway, just because I feel like it's important to not get too high, not get too low, because, I mean, as bad as shit has been, if I just let them always affect me like that, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going to be walking around unhappy all the time. So I live in a constant gray area with this team, and that's how I feel about this hire, because there's not necessarily anything to go rah-rah about, especially knowing, like, we still got Tepper in the front office. We still don't have the weapons that we need, still don't have a first-round pick, all this stuff. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a process for sure if we're ever going to get this ship right. But in that same vein, I don't have anything with Canales that would make me say like, oh, this is the wrong hire, or this is not the right guy, because I don't know if other Panthers fans or a lot of people realize this, but those big name guys, the Vrabels, Harbaugh, shit, even Dan Quinn, those guys are not coming here. Like, I know Tepper got deep pockets, but if you've got a proven coach who is trying to like get himself back in the seat like that, like, you're not going to go to the worst team in the league with no first round pick. It's like there's just too many bad things with this team. Not to mention, I know a lot of us love Bryce, but it's not like he showed stuff last year that would like automatically have coaches be like, I want to coach that guy. You know what I'm saying? So in the vein that Tony made this point, our best option was to go with a guy who maybe like a diamond in the rough, somebody who has shown you good stuff, but maybe is getting the job a little bit early rather than late because he doesn't have as many suitors as everybody else. So that's kind of how I feel about it. No reason to poo-poo the guy before he gets a chance. no reason to say, he's going to be the savior because we do have so much work that needs to be done. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good hire. I like what he did with Baker. Baker's a very different quarterback than Bryce. Their strengths are very different, so it's going to be interesting to see how all that is adjusted. But young guy, offensive mind, can't be mad at it, man. Keep on it. Appreciate it.
All right, well, take another short call, and then you're gonna have to download them. I gotta go pick my kids up, Cody.
Gotcha. Hey, also, Gene Thomas from Buck What You Heard is in the chat. Gene, if you wanted to stop on the show, hit that StreamYard link and come through and talk about Dave Canales, you're more than welcome, buddy.
All right, let me see. Why is this voicemail still loading? 3 minutes. All right, actually, can you take care of any other call? I'll try to get back, you guys. First, I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna split. I gotta go pick my kids up, like Dave Canales. I've got 3 kids. He's got 4. I've got 3. We're both the same age. He is signing a multi-million-dollar contract. I am looking for a beater car for my kid who turns 16 next month. So support the show, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, and become a C3 super fan. Really excited about. I would say I'm happy. I'm happy about this because here I can't be optimistic. I mean, I can't say this. I don't think that the road to success is going to be easy. But I think we're sticking with some of our guns, and that is just because the offensive coach to tutor the young quarterback didn't work this past time doesn't mean that that's a failed model. I'm really enthused by the type of person that I'm learning that Dave Canales is. So
agreed.
That's some really interesting stuff. I'll pass the mic. You guys have fun.
Yeah, man. And tell me real quick, what was the first 3 digits of the last number you played?
You need to play. Oh God. I played
the last.
It was 4-5-4-2-5-8. You need to play 3-2-2-1 and whatever that 4-4-1-8
Okay, so just
is.
the top 2. Okay, I got you.
And then there is a one down from 123 that needs to be played. 0430. I'll write it in the chat so you don't forget.
No, I got you. I see him.
All
right. No, I appreciate you, brother. Yep. Thanks for doing the show. Yeah, man, for sure. And remember, if y'all wanted to jump on, the link is in the chat room. I pinned it earlier. Or if not, just scroll up. But and I'll play some more cat calls here in a minute. But
and D, you're muted if you want to unmute at any point and chime in.
All right. Everybody hear me out now.
Go ahead.
If the NFL is rigged, right? They are writing a Disney movie right now, man. The addicted, adulthood coach that got the second chance, right? With a ragtag team. And they work their way to a conference championship, whatever, right? If somehow we can pull that mess off in the next 3 to 4 years, right? I will be sold that the NFL is absolutely rigged, and I won't give a damn. Okay,
because we'll get our Super Bowl, baby.
Just give me my Lombardi, man. That's all I want in my lifetime. I just want my Lombardi. I'm 43 years old. I have been supporting this team since day one, right? I don't care if it's a 65-year-old dude that can motivate dudes that's on his last breath, or if it ain't nothing but a 26-year-old dude that has somehow cracked the code on how to lead men. Just give me a dude that can get us to a championship, all right? And the problem is, like we've said so many times, we have gotten so close. We have NFC championships. If Canales, think about the story, man. If Canales could get us a ring, man. If he could get us a ring, man, that would be one of the greatest. Forget the blind side. I was almost gonna say remember the Titans is always number 1, but this would be number 2, man. This would be
I'm here for it.
Even think about it from this perspective. The benefit to this is, number one, not a single Bucks fan that I've seen is happy that he's gone. Number one. Okay. Which tells you that he, at least from their perspective, He may not have been a top 10 offense, but the dude was worthy of sticking around. And I don't think any of us would have thought at the beginning of the year that the Buccaneers were going to have the offense that they had, with with the questions around their offensive line, with Baker Mayfield coming in to compete for the starting job, not even guaranteed to have the starting job. And they were able to turn his career around. He's going to get a contract, and it's going to be a good contract with the Bucs. And that happened under the leadership and the offense that was created. And this is the thing. He's coming from a defensive-minded head coach, which means that offense was unequivocally his offense, right? So when you talk about what this does, number one, it's a blow to a rival because they didn't want to get rid of him. We took their offensive coordinator, and we'll see what happens to who they can replace him with. But right now, I don't think the Bucs are super encouraged by the fact that Canales will not be there next year.
Yep. And I want to ask y'all this, to everyone on the panel, to everyone in the chat room, all 176 of you. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. And then after this, we'll play 3 more calls. What do you think the chances are of the Panthers actually luring someone like Mike Evans to the Carolina Panthers? Like, do you think that's reasonable, or is this just another pipe dream because Canales was the OC for Mike Evans last year?
I mean, it would be Mike Evans specifically, maybe. I don't think it's going to be a necessarily a draw for other wide receivers. You might see guys come from, that might be interested from Seattle, but I think largely these guys just don't know who he is. Like, a lot of these other players. I mean, he's. I mean, let's be real about it. Until he became the offensive coordinator of the Bucs last year, we didn't know who he was. So that's the only thing I would worry about is this a draw for other people? If Vrabel had come here, I think that's a draw, right?
Yeah.
I think Canales is going to have his work cut out for him for a couple of reasons, and the main reason is he's going to have to draft well. Him and Dan Morgan are going to have to develop players. If they don't, I just don't know that free agents are going to want to. Let me rephrase. I'm not sure he's going to be able to land free agents that are interested in winning championships. He'll be able to land free agents whose sole goal is to make money. But that's one of those things where most people are going to go somewhere if they have to take a small pay cut and go somewhere to be a competitor, they're going to go there. So this year, I just don't think we should get our hopes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Mike's going to a contender or he's re-signing with the Bucs. I think kind of what CK said. I mean, if we got a big fish, then it's definitely an attraction spot. But there's just so much unknowns right now. I don't know, man. I agree with CK. I think we got to draft well is how we're going to turn this thing around, man. I mean, let's look forward to having a solid 2024 draft, whether that's hitting on second, third, and fourth round picks, or whether that's trading someone to get into the first round. I think that's where we really got to start here.
Yeah, and I wanted to reveal the results of this poll too. I put in the chat: are you confident in Dave Canales as the next Panthers head coach? My answers I gave for the people were incredibly confident, somewhat confident, uncertain, or terrible hire. And with 131 votes right now at 47%, people are uncertain.
Yeah.
So it really says that there's a lot of, I don't know what to feel around this Dave Canales situation.
But isn't that fresh though? Like, isn't that a fresh thing to have happen? Because as somebody, and D, I know you want to. I'm going to let you. My apologies. I'm going to cut you off there.
Yeah,
was that Al? My bad. I don't want to. My entire mindset with that is the amount of pressure that was on this team. If we hired a Vrabel, if we hired a Bill Belichick, if we hired a damn Jim Harbaugh, would have been excessive.
Through the roof.
I think right now this hire is going to allow players to play. That's it. Players to go out there and play, coaches to go out there and coach. No expectation. Hope that it's going to go well, but not really expect anything in particular. And that's going to be good. Obviously, we want excitement as Panthers fans, But I also think it's going to be good for our psychology, or our psyche valve, if you will, for us moving forward, because we're not going to be going into this with such high hopes just to be crushed again. And then if things happen, we're looking at, I mean, can you imagine, many of you guys who were here during 2015, like that feeling of thinking our season was over because Kelvin Benjamin was gone for the season in preseason was abysmal. But I can tell you with a incredible amount of certainty, every one of you that experienced that made that feeling of when we went 13-0, you're like, wow, what in the world is, every single week was a gift. It was a gift. And so I'm hoping that that's something we experience this year. But right now, I think expectations are going to remain fairly low, which is also one of the people in the chat had talked about it. I think that's going to be a reason why free agents aren't necessarily or drawn to Carolina right now.
Yeah, but I like what it sets up, though, CK. I like the fact that because he doesn't have a name, he's not somebody that people really know and already have connections to, that the expectations are low. I mean, think about this time last year when we're making these hires. We did put together the all-star team, right? And everybody had, do we have so much coaching knowledge on this team? There's a collective 11 Super Bowl rings. Everybody was so hyped. And whereas this one, it's like, I don't really know. I don't really know what to think. You hear good things. You hear people say bad things about how the offense wasn't ranked very highly for his time in Tampa Bay. But again, I think that's kind of bereft of a lot of context, okay?
Yeah.
Again, I like the fact that we're kind of sleeping, that we're kind of under the radar. I think this is a good thing. And we got Al the Sailor on the show. Al, what's up, dude? How you feeling about this hire, bro?
I mean, I'm not mad, bro. I'm not mad, but it's like an uncertainty. But to the point is, all these coaches are uncertainties unless it was Harbaugh. I mean, that's the only one certain that you really had. I mean, Belichick's uncertainty still also a little bit because you know what I'm saying? So he could be he's a young coach. He might come in here, he might be the next Don Shula. He might be, you know what I'm saying? He might be the next big coach. So I mean, I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm not gonna sit here and shit on the man, you know?
Yeah.
But
no, I
kind of like I mean, and you saying that, well, my bad. What did you said? It's we don't got the pressure. We don't got the pressure like that. And,
not everybody's looking at us to perform.
Yeah, and then you would have had Ben Johnson in here, and Ben Johnson, next best thing, and then we go fucking another 2-15. And
if we do bad next year, with Canales, it's not we're okay. We expect it. Ben Johnson comes in here being the hot commodity, and there's not we're not a better team. I think we're immediately jumping to the, oh my God, did we make the wrong hire? Because that's that expectation. It's similar to Bryce Young being the number 1 overall pick and being traded up to be the number 1 overall pick. That pressure on him was going to be incredible compared to any other quarterback in the draft, because not a single other team gave up what we gave up to get him. And so and the fact that he underperformed is it's going to impact him. It's a direct impact. After that year, we all of us, we're not exactly thrilled with how he played, right? There might be, again, extenuating circumstances, but we expected more because he was the most pro-ready. That's what we were told by draft analysts. That's what we were told by every single person that loved Bryce Young, is he is the most pro-ready quarterback. And we had the worst record in the NFL. That type of pressure isn't on either of these. It's not on Bryce Young anymore this year, right? He's had his worst. Fingers crossed, right? So at the end of this year, him improving, but the team maybe not looking great, doesn't impact Dave Canales as much as it would be a highly sought after quarterback or head coach.
I think that goes without saying. Hold on 1 second, Al. let me bring in my man, Mossy Man, back onto the show. What's up, dude?
Konnichiwa. What's going on? Keep pounding. Hey, David Canales was my third choice. My first one was Hakeem Morris, and my second choice is Ben Johnson. I think we got probably a first base to second base. I'm still doubtful in experience, but I think we got something. If we take some time on, he's going to be a winner because he knows how to communicate. I mean, I've heard from people from Tampa Bay that it was a sore loss for them. I think if we give him time, he might be a winner. So I know he's better than Frank Wright and Matt Rule. So we got to give him a chance too. I think he's going to make this maybe this coming year. My prediction is 5 to 6 wins, but I think he's way better. I think we have some hope. And if we could keep Evero and Chris Tabor and get rid of Campen and find a good offensive coordinator or offensive line coach, I think we have the potential in the next 2 or 3 years to dominate the NFC South. And I'm speaking real facts. So correct me if I'm wrong.
No, hey, I love the optimism. I like that. It looks like we have a guy that might be able to implement a collective offensive vision for the Carolina Panthers, and we've really been lacking at that. Let me introduce my man, Keep Pounding. Keep Pounding. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. I'm really excited about the hire, I think. It brings a fresh new experience to Carolina, and like everybody's saying, Tampa feels really frustrated with not having him there anymore. And I've been kind of tracking the coaching hires and everything else. And someone told me he runs the West Coast offense, which is interesting. If you try to mix that with Bryce Young, it could work.
Yeah. And also Southern California guys, both of them, they come from that Christian background, and they're that they both have that connection to the offensive side of the football. I think Dave Canales could find a lot to like in Bryce Young. Hey, my another question, then I'll play the final cat calls. Do you think this means that we retain Ejiro Evero? Dave Canales said nice things about Evero in the build-up to our game with Tampa this year, I believe the first time. So do you think that's something that you're expecting now, or do you think he brings in another defensive coordinator?
I think, yes, he sticks around. You did a strong head coach to keep Evero around, and keep him from wanting to jump to somewhere else. And, speaking to Canales' character, if you saw the interview that he did recently about the postseason, I think it was very interesting. He hit on a lot of different things. Development of players was one of them. And we have to clean out this coaching staff because there's a lot of people in here that were not developing our players correctly, and it's led to a player mill. And we've got to clean this out. And I like Canales' approach and how he does things. He's very honest, and I like what we're doing here. This could lure out a really good offensive coordinator, knowing that we have good defensive top 10 units here. And if we can retain some of these players, that could lure out somebody maybe like Bobby Slovic. Who knows? But I've heard reports that he's trying to get his wide receiver coach here. So
I would say
how this goes.
Yeah, my opinion on the matter is there's only one reason Evero stays. There's only one, and it has nothing to do with the head coach. It has everything to do with him proving that he can develop guys after their first year. To see what developments happen with the defense 1 year to the next, being the defensive coordinator. The reason I don't think that he stays around is a couple of reasons. Number one, We've interviewed him twice for a head coaching job and snubbed him both times. Okay. So that's one. Number two is if I am Evero, I'm looking around the league at the potential DC openings, the Eagles, maybe even the Ravens. You look down, maybe even the Cowboys if Dan Quinn finds his home in Seattle, like many people are questioning whether that will happen, or even going down to Atlanta. And because they have a lot of superstars as well. If I'm Evero, my thought is I'm going to go to the place that's going to allow me to shine and also allow people's eyes to be on me, to give me the best opportunity to actually score that head coaching position and not just be a Rooney Rule interviewee. That's my reason. I just don't see any other reason he would stick around other than just proving that he is more than just I can do okay with, decent talent.
I just want to see him be a part of a winning football team.
Yeah.
Vero. I feel like he probably is getting as much love as, maybe even like a Dan Quinn, if he was able to be on a team that had an offense that could actually benefit and play complementary football to that defense. I think it's ultimately a good thing that Vero comes back. And I hope he does. I hope they add some better personnel to the defense and really kind of show, what we're capable of building here in Carolina. Hey, let's. We have 3 more cat calls. Go ahead.
It'll be a good thing when the Vera does come back, because the continuity, and then you got Dan Morgan with the continuity, and then we got a young head coach. Like I was saying about uncertainty, like we don't know if Ben Johnson's going to be good. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and, like I said before, I'm not going to do that. But I think continuity is a good thing for the team. It's a good thing for, it's a good thing for the team, man. It's a good thing for the team. And I think we got a direction now. I think we actually got like a real direction now. And I think that Tepper is trying to take his hands off and let the workers work. And if that's what you're paying for, let them do their job. And I think he's going to try to take a step back and not be jumping in and trying to put his hands all up in the pot, the gumbo and stuff. And, so I think it would probably be good.
Yeah, hey, absolutely. I just found this clip of Dave Canales talking about getting passed up as the Seahawks offensive coordinator back in the day.
Great knowledge from the coordinators who came in that time, and it really expanded my game. I trust Pete. I trust his wisdom. But at the same time, truth be told, personally, I was mad.
Oh, so hey, he has a little dog in him. He got a little bit of dog in him. I like that. He said, nah, that should have been my job, son. I like that. And let's hope he can bring that fire and tenacity here to Charlotte. Let's go to the next cat call.
Yo, what's going on, my C3 family? D.
That's
Stanford,
D?
North Carolina. Shout out to the great Tony Dunn.
I think we already heard D. We had D on the show, so we might get
C3
somebody
fan
else
with your
in
boy
here.
Josh from Mass.
Love you, D.
Some thoughts about the new head coach hire. I guess you could say cautiously optimistic after everything we've been through the last, 3-4 years now. I will say the way he's been kind of the man behind, Russell Wilson and Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield all having improvement. That's a bit reassuring. Curious if he's going to be the one calling calling the shots, calling plays. I'm also curious to see who he's going to bring in for staff, where those people are going to come from. I'm sure there's a fair amount of people thinking, probably going to bring in staff from Tampa, but given connections to Seattle and whatnot, also the connections Dan Morgan has in Buffalo and whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised to see some faces from those two franchises pop up. As they say, raid the cupboard. But yeah, there's the whole, the run game wasn't that strong. Well, you got to remember, Tampa didn't have running backs that were very good. Dare I say it, I think Chuba Hubbard is better than Rasheed White. I believe that was his name in Tampa. I think we've already got a better running back one. I mean, maybe we could do with another one. Honestly, Sanders, I've got enough doubts about. I think we all do. There's going to be a glut of free agent wide receiver talent this year. I think it's 5 or 6 pretty big names. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to see us grab one of those. I also don't think it's too far-fetched to see an improvement in some of the talent we've already got. Mingo had moments at the end where he started looking really, really better, towards the end of the season. That obviously tapered off again, but you got a question with how messy things were last season, how out the window was it to see anything improve, and how much was the team just trying to get out of the season at that point? I think that's the symptom of what happened. There's just a lot of, let's just try to get through the season and not get completely embarrassed in any given situation. There's fortunately a couple high moments. The Green Bay game sticks out even though we lost. But I think there's plenty to glean from this that could go either way, but I think it's mostly positive. Josh from Matt, I'm out of time. I'm out. And don't forget to check out them articles on the C3 website, y'all. Your boy be
Hey, my boy Josh from Mass getting busy on Carolina Cat Chronicles.com.
Cody, let me say this. I'm going to jump off. I got to go get some stuff for my daughter. She got a fever going.
All right, go ahead, Al.
But also what I like about Canales is that he's a retrend, but he's been in the NFL for like 15 years already now. You know what I'm saying? So that's a plus right there. So he knows the NFL game. He knows how to deal with players. He knows how to deal with all this extra stuff. It's not Matt Rule come from college. And
my man, how are you happy for another yes man?
Man, come on, C-Dog. Don't come out here with talking about some yes man stuff, bro. You see the direction that the team's going right
what
now.
What direction, man? Dan Morgan is a yes man. How did we get better? But keep on going. Keep on going.
He's not a yes man. He's not a yes man. You know this is Dan Morgan's pitch, right?
My man, temper hard or firm. Temper hard or firm to find somebody and hire somebody in house. That's ass backwards.
Yeah, that is hilarious though. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic, but that is funny to me, man. Like you bring in a firm and the dude's already there, Richard, the dude that you've been working with. That is funny.
He's the best pick. You act like Dan Morgan's not qualified to be a GM.
Yeah, he is.
Man, what the fuck has Dan Morgan done?
Who is the GM?
Come on, man.
Yo, well, I tell you what, man. Oh my God. Go ahead, Al.
No,
I'm at work. I'm gonna give my opinion whenever you get done.
I was listening to Buddy in the Panthers hat. He was saying something.
Yeah, go ahead, Kip.
The first thing that Dan did was go after Tillich and show interest in Tillich, who was the Chiefs' right-hand man to the GM.
Yeah.
And if you look at his profile, it looks like a resume of just beautiful things that we don't have here in Carolina.
Now we haven't hired Tillis yet, right? That isn't official. No, we interviewed him. Yeah, but hey Al, I know you gotta jump out of here, man. I appreciate you, big dog. If we're still live when you're done, then jump back through.
Yeah, one more stuff. I got you, bro.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. Hey, let me hey, I only have one more cat call. Let me play the last call, and then I'll introduce our new guest into the show.
Hey, guys. Loving this hire. To me, this is our Shanahan. This is our LaFleur. No more Coach Eeyore. No more burnout. And honestly, I think Vrabel was a true consideration, but I think he asked for that Belichick control, and there was no way Tepper was going to do it after he got burnt by Matt Rule. Keep pounding. Let's start this new era with Canales and start anew. Great podcast.
Right.
Love you guys.
Yep.
Appreciate you, man. Keep pounding. We appreciate your input into the show. Hey, first up, let me just go one by one here. I got my man Michael Wydrick in the building. Michael, what's up, dude? How you feeling about everything, man? Dave Canales, even Dan Morgan, if you'd like to comment on that, man.
Okay, what's up, guys? How y'all doing on this fine morning?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, playing some Madden right now, listening to you guys and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, like honestly, I feel like if we're thinking that this offensive-minded coach is going to do something for us, okay, that's your guys' opinion. But we got to look at it this way. If he doesn't succeed like all the other coaches we've had, then yeah, it's not a good hire. That's why I'm not hyped, and I'm also not saying he's going to be a good coach, but there is going to come a time where we're going to start thinking to ourselves, okay, is this the right guy for our franchise? If he's not, then why are we hyping this guy up so much that we just possibly can't, think straight? Because David Tepper, again, or I will say this one time and one time only, he's an entertainer guy. He's not an owner, okay? But honestly, right. I hope Dan Morgan automatically thinks positive and automatically has a good idea of how to strategize his whole team for a football team. And honestly, like I just can't. I don't know. Like it's a toss up between me because I can't really think how good this coach is going to be. Sure, he's been coaching for other teams, but he's not at that head coach level. And that's
There's not a lot to know about him. He
ain't been coaching like that. He hasn't really been coaching like this. Is only last year, if I'm not mistaken, was his first year being a coordinator, wasn't it?
That was his first time ever as an offensive coordinator.
Real quick, let me just say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, C-Dog. Shout out to C-Dog joining.
I don't know why everybody's so hyped. You know what I'm saying? This is his first year in doing offense. The Buccaneers, if I'm not mistaken, they were ranked like 23rd in offense.
Right.
So we went and got a motherfucker. That's not good. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. To be ranked 23rd in the fucking offense, and then to bring him in and say he's gonna be our fucking saver, he gonna goddamn save Bryce Young. I mean, come on, man.
That's then everybody. I'm not saying that, C-Dog.
No, my man. I'm not saying you saying that. I'm just talking about what some of the other people saying. But I agree with everything you saying, my man. What's your name with the beard? What's your name with the beard?
That's Michael.
Michael Wydrick.
You said Wydrick?
Wydrick.
Yeah, that's Michael. Yeah, Michael.
Mike, Mike, I agree with you, Mike. I don't like you. I don't like the Dan Morgan. I don't like none of this shit.
Right. Exactly.
Because Dan Morgan is with the same motherfuckers who just got fucking fired. We used to the clean fucking house.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, I mean, hey man, if one of the things that we're gonna have to be looking for is how long of a leash does this new front office and coaching staff have with Bryce Young? Now, obviously, y'all have heard me say that you bring in these guys to try and get the most out of Bryce Young possible. And I think that's why the hire was made, because of what he's been able to do with, let's be honest, some quarterbacks that people would consider mid to mid-tier. So if you're able to take a quarterback of the style of Bryce Young, put enough talent around him, I think that's what they had in mind when they made this hire. But hey, man, I get that not everybody believes in it. Let me welcome everyone on the show, and then I'll let everybody just kind of have it out, man. First up, I got my man Cole back on the show. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
What's going on, Cody? Hope you're having a good day so far, sir.
Yeah, man, happy to have you. And then, of course, I got my guy Kyle from Charlotte Sports One. What up, dude?
Hey, how we doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. All right, so now that I got Cole and Kyle in here, I mean, y'all have it out, man. Like, how are y'all feeling in general? Like, do we feel like we're on the right path? Do we take a step backward? Are we too excited, like C-Dog said we are? Like, y'all let me know, man. How y'all feel about this?
Kyle, I'll be real quick with mine. Cody, I feel indifferent, but yet optimistic at the same exact time. I feel like as a Panthers fan, my heart's been damaged too many times with the past couple of hires. So until we see the type of people that he's going to bring in here, coaching and personnel-wise, I'm going to hold off my judgment, but the number one thing I want to see is I want this scouting department gutted. I want us to go about everything differently, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get that. That's what I'm most concerned with.
You could still got Dan Morgan. Exactly what you just said, sir. What you just said.
Yeah.
And real quick, let me say one more thing, man. Everybody talking about Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. The only difference between Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith and Bryce Young can't throw a goddamn deep ball. I keep telling y'all this shit. Unless Canales gonna come in here and go get me another goddamn quarterback. If I'll tell you what now. If this motherfucker Puerto Rican come in here, if this Puerto Rican come in here and say he want another goddamn quarterback, he my goddamn coach. But if he come in here with I can fix Bryce Young and all this bullshit with Bryce Young, I'm telling you right now, he's not my fucking coach. He's not who the fuck I want. I need somebody like who's gonna come in here and not go for that bullshit. Who's gonna stand up the fucking temper. That's why I say Dan Morgan's a fucking yes man until he proves me otherwise.
C-Dog, I think there's not a single coach on the planet that would be able to come in here and actually bench Bryce Young next year. Not a single person on the planet would come and take this job. Vrabel come in here, it's Bryce Young. You know, it's any quarterback.
I think Vrabel would have benched his ass. Vrabel ain't going for that shit.
Most definitely.
I mean, it's all hopeful thinking at this point. Like, if you don't believe in Bryce, nothing that the Panthers are about to do or have done is about to change anyone's mind. Like, only Bryce is about to change people's mind on whether or not he can do it or not. But yeah, the type of leash and how long that is on Bryce, that'll be interesting to see. Let me get my man Kyle in here. Kyle, how you feeling, bro?
So I guess it's just for me, the first thing that comes to mind is if he was still in Tampa Bay, if Dave Canales was still in Tampa Bay and he was still doing, the offensive coordinator, whatever, and 2 years down the road, head coach gets fired or whatever, would Dave Canales have been a candidate for that job? And if we can confidently say that he would have been an optimal candidate for that job, then I think it's a good hire.
You can't say that though.
But I want to base him on his talent. But I can't say that for either program. But you're right. But I think that if he was the right hire, and if we think that was the case, then I think that at least we're heading in the right direction. Whether or not that was the right person that we could have gotten, we didn't interview the good ones. So, I mean,
yeah.
But we need a fucking Dan Campbell. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck we need? A football motherfucker.
Definitely.
God damn,
Do
man.
you think that would have been Vrabel, C-Dog? Do you think that would have been our Dan
Yes.
Campbell?
Fucking yes.
So
I need a leader of fucking men.
Can I speak to that though? Like, I was really pounding the same drum for Vrabel, and I listened to a couple things today. There's a podcast on Apple Music where they interviewed a couple of players, like linebackers, that were in his system, and RKM or something like that on Apple Music. I think I posted it on my Twitter, but he talks about how Vrabel went in there and lost the locker room, and that's how he got fired. And I hear more and more posts like that from former players that were in the locker room with him that happened. And just the stories that he had to say. Woodyard, I think, was the player, but very interesting to consider it from that perspective, because yes, he does have the old school kind of background and the kind of hard-nosed gritty football, but at the same time he has my way or the highway kind of attitude, and I'm not really sure that would be great here in Carolina. I mean,
yeah, and also, like, didn't we just do the thing where we hired a fired head coach and then only the one and done of the next year? And then be like, oh, well, maybe the organization around the head coach was the problem. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I thought this is the shit that we should have done last offseason. That if you wanted the guy that you were going to pair with your quarterback, whoever it was, for the foreseeable future that you would just go with the trend that every NFL team is doing and hire the young, bright offensive head coach. That's what we're doing now. I feel like we're always a day late, dollar short. Like we're doing the thing that we should do a year or two late. So only now have we hired our GM before hiring our head coach. Only now are we hiring the young, bright offensive mind and just hoping that it's not too late in the process.
My issue with the idea of going with an old, like going back to like a Ron Rivera or a Mike Vrabel or a Bill Belichick is every other team is moving on from that. When you see the most successful teams outside of maybe KC, and that's because Andy Reid's been ahead of his time from an offensive play caller his entire career. But outside of that, it's all the longest tenured head coaches. He's almost on the verge of being fired this year, at least what people are speculating. I just don't know that going backwards is the answer. I feel like you have to move forward, and I don't know that a that of Vrabel.
Hey, what's up, bro?
I'm excited.
Yeah, Panther Pickle joining the show, man. How you doing, brother?
What up, Pickle?
What's up, man? I'm good. This hire, I'm not overly hyped. I'm not overly disappointed. It's like the Morgan hire. I'm not overly hyped. I'm not overly disappointed. Why? Because I think we hired who we could get. I think it's a freaking pipe dream to think that we were going to get somebody else. For example, Mike Vrabel. I live in Tennessee, folks. Mike Vrabel lost the locker room before. A lot of it had to do with the GM, but the message got lost in the shuffle. Okay, it really did. There's a lot. Dan Campbell, somebody mentioned we need Dan Campbell. Y'all realize Mike Vrabel, Dan Campbell was on the edge of getting fired after his first year. That's just what he was. Because there's a point when we're not. I'm hearing an echo. I apologize. I deplore people to understand that David Tepper ain't going nowhere. So if you hate the Panthers bad enough that you hate David Tepper, then maybe it's time for you to relook at different things in your life because he ain't going nowhere. And if you've been a Panther fan for 5 or 6 years and all you can have is negativity, then maybe you need to reevaluate. I talked to 2 people today who have had enough, and they were out. They were out as Panther fans. So they let me know because they unfriended me, and I unfriended them, and I said, have a nice life. No hard feelings.
After everything that the Panthers have been to, it's crazy that these moves would be the final straw for someone. You know what I mean?
Right.
And really, this is what did it for you, huh?
Yeah, and you know what? It makes no sense to me because here's the concept. If you hire Mike Vrabel as your head coach, because now let's be fair. He wanted complete control over the roster and the front office. He wanted Bill Belichick control. He didn't just want roster control. He wanted Bill Belichick control. He wanted to do every contract. He wanted to do every draft pick, complete control. And that nobody's getting that in today's NFL unless you won a couple Super Bowls like Andy Reid has.
Hey, Panther Pickle, real quick. Let's see, though. I got a question for you because you in Tennessee. To me, my personal opinion, when the Titans brought in that new GM that came in, did he come in last year? The black guy?
Yeah.
Ray, I think his name is Ray Carlton, whatever. I think his first name is Ray. But to me, they were both bumping heads, and then at the same time, to me, Mike Vrabel never had a solidified quarterback since while he was there. It's just my personal opinion.
Well, see, I'll tell you the truth of it. Mike Vrabel did, and he expressed that issue. He didn't want that guy at all, and
who you mean, Will Levis?
The owner lives in. No, he didn't want the GM. The owner lives in Houston, Texas, and she don't travel to Tennessee, but maybe once or twice a year, and she spends about 2 weeks there. And while she's there, she goes through and she's like the grand inspector. She wants everything spot shined and dolly faced, and she watches it on TV. And she talks to the GM directly. She didn't want Mike Vrabel wanted a scout that's in the rankings up there that used to be in the Panthers, but he's now like vice president or something. That's who Mike Vrabel wanted up there because he would listen to Mike
if
Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel had come to Carolina, the amount of power that he would have wanted from the organization probably felt like a little bit much for David.
Oh yeah. He didn't just want roster control. People say he wanted Matt Rule had roster control. He didn't want roster control. He wanted complete control. He wanted to be the guy who signed the contracts, the guy who did the drafting, the guy currently right now in the NFL. There is, to my knowledge, there is one guy that has that much power, and that is Andy Reid. That's the only guy left with that much power.
No, Tommy McVay with the Rams got power. No, I can't. No, it's no. Even look,
the Rams don't have.
Hold on, Cody.
McVay don't have that kind of power. He just gets along with the GM.
Sir, hold on. Let me explain to you, sir. You can go back and watch a clip of Sean McVay in the day of the draft when they drafted goddamn Puka Nacua. And Sean McVay was right there talking with the goddamn GM. And the GM was like, well, they was basically talking about his numbers and everything, and how they could bring him in, how he could basically be another Cooper Cup and everything.
Yeah, because they get along good.
I know, but what
they get along really good, and they talk about it like a head coach and a GM should.
Well,
they talk about it.
Maybe that's what we're getting. No, maybe that's what we're getting now. That's what I'm hopeful for. That what we're getting now with the relationship between Dan Morgan and Dave Canales, that maybe we're going to have some of that cohesion like they had in LA. Look, hang on. I wanted to play this clip of Pete Carroll. This is Pete Carroll talking about Dave Canales.
Well, he is one of the young guns. He's one of the guys that we see come through the league that have that kind of that connection to creativity, freedom of thought, openness that allow for so many good young guys to make it. We see it whether they're play callers or whether they're head coaches. It's happening. It's a really cool element to you see guys express their ability. Dave is one of the guys that fits right in with that. He's been so deeply involved with us that he is us. I mean, we talk the same language. We see things the same. We evaluate the same. We have the backlog of stories that we've shared and what we've learned and how we've grown. And Dave's a guy that has, for me, I've always gone to him and communicate with him because he has great vision and great insights, and he works really, really well with people. And so he's been an integral part of our process along the way. So I mean, he's going to be highly successful. I don't see anything but that. But it is.
So he basically said that Dave Canales was synonymous with the Seahawks offense and what they were doing. So look, if you don't think very highly of Dave Canales, bro, ain't shit I'm gonna say make you feel different about it. Only real results are gonna make you feel different. But seeing as he has been such an important person at every organization that he has been in, dude, it lets me know that this is a guy that has been on the rise for a long time in the NFL. And my hope is that we're getting him a year early. That if he would have went back and spent another year as the offensive coordinator for the Bucs, dude, maybe he's the Ben Johnson of the next coaching hire where everyone's talking about him, right? That's something that we need to consider. If we're a little bit early on some of those things, then I'm loving it. It means that we're a year ahead of the curve.
I don't think it's going to matter until we get players.
True that.
Let me just say something real quick. I feel like another thing. I feel like this was like a panic hire with John Harbaugh getting hired. You know what I'm saying? And even the guy even the Titans' new head coach. I didn't want him. But I feel like they seen both of them hires go by. I feel like Tepper just being Tepper, he just rushed to the gun and hired this guy. That's just my personal opinion. The way the dominoes fell.
Yeah, I think Dan Morgan had a big part in it.
Oh,
and that's a good thing.
Yeah, they were the
head coach.
Yeah, they were friends and teammates, or they're on the part of the same team in Seattle. So again, that Seattle is really where it starts for both Dan Morgan and Dave Canales. So whatever you think about Seattle as an organization, that's fine. You can love it or hate it, but he's been around a veteran coach that knows the importance of running the football, like Pete Carroll. He's also been around some great wide receiver talent, like Mike Evans, like DK Metcalf, like Tyler Lockett, like Chris Godwin. So he knows the type of difference makers that we would need on this team. And like somebody said before, I'm hopeful that maybe he might be able to get the most out of the young guys that we do have on the team right now, like a Jonathan Mingo, like a Tommy Tremble, even more so than we've seen. I agree with what Josh from Mass in the cat call said. I would take Chuba over Rashad White or whatever his name was with Tampa Bay. Like that's easy. All right, man. Whatever. Chuba's
Cody,
a downhill thumper, man. People be disrespecting.
Man, Rashad White is 6'1", 215, sir.
Oh,
and
man,
he can catch the fucking ball.
He can't do shit that Chuba can't. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Man, Chuba ain't a power back. Rashad White is a power back. He's an all-around back.
I don't think we're going to get another running back anyway.
If Chuba's not a power back, then what the hell is he?
He's a scat back.
He's not bad either.
No, he don't catch the ball enough to be considered a scat back. See,
I'm just talking about running the ball.
He's a downhill thumper. Hey, you're muted, Kyle.
No, he's not. He's not. No, he's not. He's
Kyle,
not.
you're muted. Kyle, you're muted, brother. You're muted.
All right, he's a power back, but Chuba Hubbard is a pickup truck, and old boy is a much larger truck.
Stop it.
But old boy's a pickup truck
versus a pickup.
Chuba probably weighs like what, 210, 205? Stop.
Yeah, but dude, that's all.
He's like in the ass.
Yeah, but you ain't gotta be.
Run through me,
bro. You don't have to be. You ain't gotta be 215 pounds to be a power back, though. See.
So Cody. So from this past season, you telling me Chuba proved to you that he's a pounder, that he's the Deontay Foreman. That's what you're telling me.
From this year and last year, if we had a better offensive line, everyone's talking about Chuba as one of the best in the NFC South.
Oh my God!
Deontay Foreman is one of my top 5 mistakes of all time of this fucking franchise.
I hear you, but I mean, he went for over 100 yards rushing against the Lions the year before when we had that good downhill offensive line.
Hold on. What's the concern with White over Chuba? You feel like it's what?
I was just saying White is an all-around running back. You know, he can catch the ball, run the ball. He can do it all.
I did say size.
And he's bigger. He's 6'1", 220.
You know how big Chuba is? 6'1", 210. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
He's not a thumper, though. He's not a fucking thumper.
They're the same dude. See, they're the same dude. They're not even that different.
I'll tell you right now, nobody's scared. Ain't no defense worried about Chuba Hubbard coming down the goddamn pipe. Ain't nobody worried about that
shit. You need that. He was the one making people miss on the team. He was the one actually picking up yards. Bro, give him an O-line. Give him an O-line that can block.
Nick Goins was better than Chuba Hubbard. I could name a whole lot of running backs from back in the day that's better than Chuba, dog.
Man, they got better lines though, man.
Oh my God,
too trash though. See,
no. Listen, we need to. I am not a major Chuba defender, right? Never have been. However, when you look at, for instance, the fact that the Buccaneers were the last ranked rushing offense in the entire league last year, like you can't have this argument.
Yeah, but that's just
exactly. Nick Goins was lit. Come on, man. Like, come on, what are we talking about?
Remember,
but real quick,
their numbers are exactly the same, actually.
Hey, let me bring in my man JJ into the show. JJ, what's up, dude?
To be fair about y'all saying Dave Canales had the worst rushing offense last year, Tampa had like the worst rushing offense 3 years in a row, basically.
Yeah, they did.
Sir, I don't care, but last year it was on him too, and they had a 23rd ranked offense last year. So our new head coach got the 23rd ranked offense last year. Like Cody said, he should have waited a year to get his goddamn credentials up.
No. But then if he got his credentials up, we're not in the running anymore.
Yeah, we're not the number one contender to get. That's what I'm saying.
We don't have credentials.
But look, that's what I'm saying. If this dude is the next offensive line, then it's better that we hire him now when he doesn't have that name commodity thing going like Ben Johnson had this
You know,
year.
White is 6'1",
That was
man. But
my
real
point.
quick, Cal said something earlier, like what? Because somebody in the chat said something about the Bucks would have made him the next head coach. No, Todd Bowles wasn't getting fired. So when Cal brought that up earlier, you know, if the Bucks didn't want him to be the head coach, why do we want him to be the head coach?
No,
Like,
I was saying hypothetically. I was saying hypothetically,
Dave Canales,
if
the only
Todd
reason
Bowles
Todd
was
Bowles
out
still
of the
got a
question
job.
and he had to replace, then they had to replace him, would he be a candidate? Would he be a strong enough candidate in-house to be able to want upper management to want to promote him? Is what my point was.
Yeah. And by the way, all the Tampa Bay fans are all pissed off that we're taking him away from him. So I think that's just
How they mad at a 23rd ranked offense? What are they mad about? Do they not know his numbers? He is ranked 23rd.
Maybe they wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't for him, though. You don't know that.
If you look at
They
Chuba's
turned down
numbers
the
rushing and White's rushing, they're basically the same.
They're the
White
same
has
dude.
more
Bro. That's
receiving.
what I'm saying. They're the same dude. They're
White has what? More receiving? He is an all-around back.
But we just argued that he was a power back. Like that's the thing. It's the argument has now shifted to he's a power back to now he is a all-around back. And the thing is Chuba has a
he
better
all around from the get-go. That's what I'm saying. Power, and he can catch the goddamn ball. And he's 6'1".
Hey, let me look. Let's do this thought experiment, and we'll go around to everyone.
They
What's
both
one
average
thing?
under 4 yards per carry.
Look, what is one thing that Dave Canales can do to get you into his good graces? I'm gonna tell
Win
you right
games.
now what mine is.
Just win
Put
Mike Evans.
Icky at guard. Let's go. This man comes from a West Coast style of offense. He knows the importance of pushing the ball down the field. You don't do that unless you have a dominant interior O-line. If he is able to put Icky at the best position, I am instantly on this man's side. So what is something that he could do for y'all personally that would make you feel like, all right, my boy's on the right track?
Win games.
Utilize play action with Bryce Young. You know, actually have a consistent offense.
Oh my God.
Win the locker room.
I'm gonna have to say my opinion for him is to draft a quarterback that can throw the deep ball. Because if you have Bryce Young out there, more importantly, you're gonna be disappointed because he will put up stats more than wins.
Okay,
that's my opinion.
So move on from Bryce Young. That's what they'll put you.
Yeah, if he come in here and move on from Bryce, I agree with goddamn Mike, man. If he come in here and give him another quarterback, he's my coach. But if he come here talking about he can fix Bryce and all that BS, it's a waste of hire.
You remember that energy? Remember that energy you had last week or last year for Baker Mayfield talking about he was trash, he couldn't do nothing. You know?
Me?
No, I'm talking about C-Dog.
Yes.
That same energy. Guess what old boy went and did? He went and fixed Baker Mayfield.
Okay, man. I'm not going. Hold on. How we gonna say he fixed Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield had 2 Pro Bowl receivers.
I'm about to say that.
2 what?
Hey.
Oh my. Yo,
Hey,
that was
that-
not the narrative about Mike Evans coming into this season. Everybody said Mike
was a
Evans
Pro
was about
Bowl.
to fall. Yeah, everybody said Mike Evans was about to fall off with Baker
Because of
Mayfield.
Baker.
Chris Godwin's been a shell of himself since that ACL injury a few years ago. He ain't been the same. I'm talking about Pro
injured
Bowlers.
all the time. Yeah, I mean,
Mike Evans was a Pro Bowl.
but that same argument is the argument that Bryce Young people have been having with you all year, that you put talent around him, he's going to succeed. So now we got a head coach who has proven a quarterback that is undersized and is given time to throw the ball and given weapons can actually come in and actually look like a top 10 quarterback. All of a sudden you're saying if he comes in and says the same thing about Bryce Young, you're not going to be willing to actually follow him. It doesn't make any sense. There's
He got 9 fucking wins, 9 wins in this weak ass division.
Hey, no,
Come
it's
on,
not.
man.
You
Come on,
know it's
man.
not about that offense is the only reason why that only had 9 wins.
Yeah,
Baker
man. You're putting a blanket stat on right on the Dave.
Right. And
they ranked 23rd in offense, though. I mean,
dude, do you realize what he did in his first opportunity at offensive coordinator? His very first opportunity, he took a guy every other team didn't want. Not a
Yeah,
single
we
one.
shat
The
on him.
Panthers in quarterback hell didn't want him. The Browns in quarterback hell didn't want him. He went down there for his first opportunity and was able to turn him into a top 10 quarterback. Did you think last year, based on what you saw from Baker Mayfield, that he was even close to being in the top 20?
Nah, I mean, I know he wasn't, but real quick, man, no. But you know what? God, he wasn't. But man, look. I hear everything you're saying, man. I hear everything you're saying. But man, like I said, I'm not impressed with anything. A 23rd ranked offense does not impress me.
Hold
It
up real quick.
doesn't.
Let me tell y'all this real quick. You get this right quick. Mike Evans had a better year with Baker Mayfield and Dave Canales than any year with Tom Brady. That's insane when y'all really think about it, man.
Well, they didn't have Gronkowski.
But man, Tom Brady won a fucking Super Bowl. Come on, stop it. Stop.
And AB.
Stop.
You
Stop what I'm talking
constantly
about.
bringing
Tom
up the
Brady came in there
23rd
his
ranked
first year and
offense.
won a fucking Super Bowl.
He was probably getting more targets too.
My argument this entire time, and it will be, and same thing with Dan Morgan. I've been here the entire time saying that neither of these guys were my top 3. But if you are coming into this and you're going to nitpick everything he does from the get-go, you've got to judge him by his successes, not by your intent for him to be unsuccessful. Right. And so if you're coming at this with the perspective, I don't like him because he's going to be moving forward with Bryce Young, he has no choice. Bryce Young is the guy. We gave up too much to just give up on him after 1 year. The only quarterback that you could possibly say that was ever given that type of treatment was Josh Rosen. And that was coming from a Cardinals Steve Wilkes
masterclass as a head coach.
Steve Wilkes didn't even want to draft Josh Rosen. Stop it. He didn't even want that motherfucker.
Yep.
You wanted Josh Allen.
I'm sure Steve Wilkes also
it's-
didn't want to have the worst defense ever, but he fucking did.
And
It's
guess
gonna
what?
be interesting to see what the Panthers do.
And guess
going
what, too?
forward.
When that happened, when Josh Rosen was released, they had a top 5 pick. They had the number 1 overall pick and got Kyler Murray. So they had a plan to go get another guy who, by the way, was undersized, and they knew that they had an option. We have a guy Bryce Young, who underperformed last year. We have no draft pick in the first round. So getting rid of Bryce Young under the guys that we're going to draft a guy in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round to actually replace him is just hysterical.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many questions, that we're not going to get our answers anytime soon, man.
Real quick, Greg, I got a question for my man Greg real quick.
That's
man, how
okay.
many my bad,
Can I go
CK.
after him real quick?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
How many wins do we get now? Y'all telling me we gonna keep Bryce Young? He gonna be the fucking and this is why I don't want this. This is why I don't want. This is why I don't like this hire. You know what I'm saying? But just tell me how many wins you predict for us next year with Bryce Young.
It's impossible to do that right now. We don't know what our weapons are going to look like. We don't know what our O-line is going to look like. We don't know what our defense is going to look like, who our coordinators are. To ask me to do that right now is impossible.
Okay, now ask me. Hold on, Cody. Ask me.
How many wins do you think we're going to have?
Hold on.
Two fucking wins. I predicted last year we were going to win 2 fucking games with fucking Frank White, but I didn't want Frank White ass. I predicted 2 wins last year.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, with David Canales, we're gonna win 2 fucking games because we don't got a. I'm sorry, I'm mad. But we don't have a quarterback. And real quick, I'm gonna say this. Look, man, just the thing. Look, man, you can't tell me why the fuck we didn't go get goddamn Lamar Jackson.
I'm gonna remember
a lot of teams, the New York Jets.
Everyone, y'all remember how I gave Anthony shit for all the Bryce Young? Yo, C-Dog, you better pray to God we win 2 games, because I'm coming after you after this, bro. Because Dave Canales is legit. I believe in him. Anyways, Cody, I gotta go. You asked earlier what is something Dave Canales can do to prove himself to us.
Mhm.
I think in-game adjustments, multiple shit like that, bro. That's a huge part of success in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah.
It's a part of your game plan and in-game adjustments. If he start doing
Just
that
one
shit
game.
year 1, then we good.
Hold on, sir. How many wins do you predict for next season, sir? How many wins do you predict, sir?
6. We'll triple our wins.
Boy, stop. Stop it.
We're feeling optimistic with some people, not so much with others, man.
I love
Dude,
how 6 wins is optimistic, by the way.
Teams. I'm telling you right now.
pretty much.
If Bryce Young plays every fucking game, I promise you, like I said again last year, teams gonna have 8 men in the fucking box every fucking game. Every fucking game. I promise you, they will.
I mean,
Hey,
we'll see,
C-Dog,
man.
Since we cut Cam Newton, has there been a Panther player you're happy with? Because as long as I've been on C3, you ain't never been happy with no Panther.
Oh, hold on. Only
But hey, he been right about that.
hold on. I got to pick Derek Brown and Jeremy Chin, and then I'm so upset with Jeremy Chin because they don't even know where to put Jeremy Chin. He's a free safety or a strong safety, but they put him wherever, like. But I love Chin.
Jeremy Chin won't come back, or I wouldn't. He's a free
He
agent.
say he don't want to be here. I wouldn't want to come here either. We fucking suck.
Jeremy Chin, they'd have to pay me $25 million a year to come back. Then I'd only sign a 1-year deal.
Who has been good besides McCaffrey? Besides McCaffrey and Cam Newton, who have we gotten that's been good? Who? I mean, wow, but he still ain't no Luke Kuechly. Who can we get excited about on this fucking team? What can C-Dog be happy about this fucking team?
Well, look, I'm
That's
telling
what
you,
I asked, brother.
it's
I
all
asked that a whole lot.
it's all gonna depend. Well, go ahead, Kyle.
No. Hold on, Cal. Now look, since Tepper has owned this team, we hadn't had a winning season ever. At least when we had Ron and Cam, even we knew we could win fucking games. Let me tell you something, man. When we had Cam Newton, I didn't give a fuck how much money I spent on the game ticket. God knew we had a fucking chance.
That's the point. That's the point right there, C-Dog. We knew we had a chance.
That's what I'm trying to tell y'all right now. When I go to the game, I gotta pick what game I'm gonna go to because I'm basically out. That's a waste of fucking money right now. It's a waste of fucking money.
Hey, who do y'all think is going to be the OC?
That's probably the next big question.
It doesn't matter. Canales is going to call the plays anyway, so he just needs somebody to help install the game
You know
plan.
what I'm saying? He should be calling a play. You haven't been calling a play for 1 year. Come on, man.
I mean, but again, in that 1 year, look, he's been the offensive coordinator for 1 year, but he's also been the passing game coordinator basically his entire time in Seattle, and he felt like he was passed up. And I think that he was mad about that shit. Listen, I think that he is a name that's trending upward. We have to give him at least some type of chance.
Well, real quick, Cody.
It's not even like a situation with Frank Reich that came from another organization that was fired. They already told him that he's not the guy. This is a brand new guy with a brand new energy. He's a younger guy. Listen, man, I think there is a lot to be excited about when it comes to Dave, with or without Bryce, man. You're going to have to let them build this team in their image and how they view the football team. I'm looking at T. Higgins for this offense. I know you don't like him, Steve, but I think T. Higgins is perfect for this offense.
Please stop saying T. Higgins. Please stop saying
T. Higgins is not coming here to play the Bryce Young. Nobody want to play the fucking Bryce Young. Stop that shit, Cody.
There's a bunch of different people that would come to Carolina to play in the offense that Dave Canales is building. I really do. I mean, look at what they were able to do for Tua in Miami, man. I'm telling you, this shit is about to be similar. That's how you have to build.
Are we going to get Tyreek Hill?
No, hold on, real quick. In that playoff game, when the deep ball that Tua threw to Tyreek Hill was underthrown. A quarterback, when you're in inclement weather, you gotta have a quarterback that got a fucking arm.
Well, they solved that problem. They solved that problem. They fired their defensive coordinator.
No, I'm talking about for the Dolphins. The Dolphins don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, that's what the Dolphins did.
Right, but see, though, we're not going to change Bryce right now, though, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It don't matter how much you hate the kid or love the kid. Bryce is about to be the quarterback for the next 2 years, bro. if
he
we
likes
love
it
that
or
shit,
not.
if we hate that shit, that's what it's going to be. So if you're hiring someone that's going to get the most out of an underperforming quarterback, well, damn it, at least Dave Canales has done that shit before, bro. He has proven to take a mid-level quarterback, and I know you don't even think he's mid, but he has elevated his game with the type of play calling that they have, bro. Nobody thought shit about Geno Smith, and now he's viewed as a starting quarterback in the NFL. It takes some time, man, but you're gonna have to give it a little bit of time before we start judging Dave Canales on
We're
what
gonna
he
have
can
to get a
do.
run again.
Why? So
Yeah.
real quick, why did the Seahawks keep him as an OC then? Why didn't the Seahawks keep him as an OC
But
then?
hold up, well, they didn't
had one
give
they were
him
happy with.
but yeah, they never promoted him when he was wanting to be promoted, so he went somewhere else. Hold on, let me go to CK, and then I believe Kyle was going to jump in. Go ahead, CK.
Are you guys concerned at all that the Panthers haven't officially announced this though?
Have they not?
No, I really not. Because even though it hasn't been officially announced, I mean, dude, this is as official as
I know, but that's like when you saw that happen with Dan Morgan, like you got the news, and then within a matter of like minutes,
right,
the Panthers put out our new GM is Dan Morgan, right?
Y'all remember the Colts, right? With
I'm sorry.
what's his name?
Josh McDaniel.
Yeah, with Josh McDaniel. Like, is there a potential outcome where he's agreeing to terms for right now, but he's going back to Tampa saying, "Hey, can you match this? I'd like to stick around and show you, like, actually build on this something special that we've been building."
Talk your shit, CK.
If I remember the tweet that I read, unless there's been more because I was at work that I haven't read, they offered him the job and he accepted it. That's what was released. That they still were working on the contract numbers.
Yeah, I mean that same thing happened with McDaniels though with the Colts. Like they had announced, like they got to the point where it was like official almost, and then he just backed out. I think he even signed his contract.
Yeah, his wife told
backed
him to.
He did some old bullshit.
His wife told him not to because he spent so much time in the bathroom.
Josh McDaniels is an irritating little punk. He's Bill Belichick's boy anyway.
Thursday was doing blow in the bathroom. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, well, Belichick loved that job for a reason. Maybe he just liked that boy. Anyway.
Hey, how about Canales was a wild boy after what Tony read? Like, man, said,
I like
him. He was a wild boy. Yeah, he's the type of dude that'd be partying with Kev on a Wednesday night. You know,
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah. Damn, you trying to make that man backslide, Kev. You wrong for that,
I'm trying to make him upslide.
Nah, bro, you're wrong for that, bro. You're wrong for that. I mean, look, I'm probably gonna get everyone's final words here on this because we're gonna do a Friday free for all tomorrow at 7 p.m. So we're gonna do this whole song and dance again in a little more than 24 hours. So I'm gonna go around to everybody and get everyone's final thoughts. Let me go to my man Al the Sailor back on the show. Al, what's good, dude?
Yeah, great show. I'm not hyped, but I'm not a bad decision. Like,
hey, start over, Al. You were breaking up. Start over. You were breaking up, man.
Oh, I said I'm not overly hyped. I'm not overly hyped, but I'm not mad at that decision. I feel like we have a direction going now, and I feel like we got something we can go with. We got to figure some spots out on the roster, of course, but I'm mad about it. And she always say Nick Jones is better than Hubbard. Come on, Steve, stop playing. Stop playing.
No, I hear you.
Y'all are so fucking delusional, man. You know what? We have been sorry so fucking long. Y'all are happy for bullshit. That's what the fuck wrong with y'all. No. We have been so goddamn sorry. Y'all just happy for any goddamn thing. We won 2 fucking games this year. Wake the fuck up.
Maybe we're not. Maybe that's wrong.
Nobody said nothing about
that. And I call this shit. Come on,
not that we're happy or we're.
I didn't say nothing about wins and losses.
We can handle
I didn't say nothing
ourselves
about wins and
with
losses.
respect better than some people can.
Well, I mean, dude, look, nobody has the right to say that it's going to be successful or that it's going to be shit. We don't know yet, man. We just don't know. And I get everybody's going to jump to conclusions.
You don't know, bro.
But, God, y'all got, bro, we're going to have to let this live. Let it live for a little while. Let everybody come to their own conclusions. And, hey, everybody's going to keep their receipts anyway of who didn't believe what when. So it's like, shit, man. I don't even know what to think anymore. See, dog, give me your final. Oh yeah, wait. But you done now?
No, let me go ahead. I'm sorry, man. This is my quick talk, man.
I was gonna say, who was Sean McVay?
Oh,
all right, cut. Yeah, say it one more time.
Listen,
We say Al?
somewhere way down the line. I said, who was Sean McVay before he got the job? You don't know, bro. You don't know right now. So we got to.
Man, this dude ain't Sean McVay. Sean McVay came from motherfucking Shanahan.
We don't know that, though.
Come on, man.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
That doesn't matter, though, bro.
Before he
Yeah,
got the
you
head
don't.
coach
You
job,
don't.
he was a nobody.
Yeah, you don't
Just
know
like
that he's
nobody.
not that.
But
We
look,
don't
Al,
know that.
Al, check me out, Al. The Seahawks could have hired him as their OC. They didn't. So he left and became the OC at Tampa Bay. You know what that tell me? He the kid at the park. If he didn't get picked to play on the team, he took his fucking ball and went home.
But maybe they were right though. Maybe he was right for doing that.
You know what?
I'm gonna finish on the Friday free for all. Yeah, he does. He definitely does. I'm gonna finish on the Friday free for all because I could have just jumped on that, but I'm gonna let everybody get their word, and I'm done too. All right, Cody. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, man.
Have a good day, CK, Pickle, Sea Dog.
See you later, bro.
All right,
have a great day, man.
Keep pounding, Mike.
Keep pounding, dog.
Later.
Keep pounding. Yeah, man. See, dog. Let me get your final thoughts, bro. I know you already kind of made the thoughts.
Real quick, my final thoughts, man. I'm not impressed with anything. I'm not impressed with Dan Morgan. All that shit is just, like I said, to me, Dan Morgan just another fucking yes man. How goddamn Scott Fitterer was, cause you went out here and said you were gonna hire this fucking team, and you just to hire somebody in house. Then we go get the dude Dave. Like I said, he only had 1 year calling offense. It wasn't like no prolific offense. It was the ranked 23rd. So he got to show me. At the end of the day, he got to show me. Now, if he could come in here and make Bryce Young look good, I would shut the fuck up. I told y'all this shit last year. If Bryce Young come in here and fucking ball out, I would be quiet. Cause a lot of people talking about Bryce Young would be better than Cam Newton and all this bullshit. Until otherwise, he can never feel Cam Newton fucking got them Under Armour cleats. Until otherwise, period. With that being said, everybody have a great fucking day. Whenever you come in here, make sure you hit the goddamn like button. Make sure you subscribe to this great fucking content. They goddamn go live every Tuesday and every goddamn Friday. And they got the goddamn the game recap on goddamn Sunday. We didn't have the game simulation this year because Bryce Young was too fucking sorry. That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully CK bring that shit back this shit next year. The game simulation. But everybody have a great day, man.
Appreciate you, C-Dog. You're a real one, bro. And like I said, we let everybody talk their shit up on C3, man. Let me go to my man, Cole. You still in the building?
I am, Cody, walking around these hallways right now, waiting for 5 o'clock. Real quick, I gave Frank Wright and Matt Rule the benefit of the doubt because they were ours, and they were both beyond ass. So there's absolutely no reason that I can't give the same support to Canales and just hope for the best. But I won't go into too much because I know we're probably going to go live tonight on Spaces. I'll let Pickle and you plug that, man. But I appreciate you as always, Cody.
Yeah, man. Y'all check out my boys, Panther Pickle, Diesel Skills, my man Cody. Man, check out the boys, man. They're always running these C3 Spaces. I believe every what day y'all doing? Pickle Monday and
every
Thursday?
Damn day now.
Yeah, damn day.
Technically, we do it Mondays and Thursdays at 6:30. But I'm a sucker, y'all. See what I mean? He's got big old sucker. Because every time somebody says, "Hey, let's do a show," people say,
I'm the same way. Every time we sneeze, we do one.
Yesterday they wanted to show because somebody said something about variables. All of a sudden, Pickle can show up. But nonetheless, we do them and we have fun while we're doing them. And And the best thing about Twitter Spaces is the host can mute everybody, just like last night.
StreamYard needs to follow suit.
Yep.
They need
Twitter,
to follow suit.
Jake, my man Jake, y'all know who I'm talking about, Jake the Snake.
Jake the
He
Snake.
had, I put him as my co-host. He's one of my co-hosts. And in the middle of Tony talking, because Tony visited, he was having his little say. Jake muted everybody in the whole chat.
Even the
So,
professor can get muted out here.
Exactly. So if you come to Spaces and you get muted, don't take offense to it.
Don't get your panties all twisted.
You damn
That's
right.
that's basically what he's
Because
saying.
if you do, I'm gonna tell you shut the hell up and then kick your
Hey.
ass out.
he has proven he will do as such. Y'all follow him. Y'all follow Panther Pickle Diesel Skills, man. They've been posting up these spaces. Cole, yeah, man, they've been killing it. They'll probably go live tonight, as you heard. My man
It'll
Kyle.
probably be before 6:30.
All right. Kyle from Charlotte Sports One. Happy to have you again, bro. Give me your final thoughts, man.
So I mean, I'm just an echo chamber now. I mean, we've given up so much faith and optimism and hope for who we've hired in the past 5 years. So I mean, why not just continue on that train? You know, that's what we do. You know, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he has turned bad quarterbacks better. My biggest thing is, if Bryce can't throw more than 40 yards, accurately over and over, how does he scheme up plays that are less than that we can take advantage of separation, that we can get receivers in here that can do that? So that would be the thing that would win me over personally. But yeah, and as far as like guessing wins, I'm betting that we do better than we did this past season.
God, let's hope so, man. God,
Yeah,
we need some. Yeah, we need some upward trajectory, man. We need something fierce too. But Kyle, I appreciate you, brother. I'll be seeing you tomorrow night, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, appreciate you. Next up, the boy White Chocolate Espresso, back again on the show. Hey, don't think I haven't noticed that you've been absent from the Friday free for all, bro. You better bring your
pay me,
ass,
bro.
dog.
Yeah, pay me, bro.
Yeah, his girlfriend controls what he does.
Yeah, that's what it is. Girlfriend said,
Hey.
"Yo, you got other shit to do on Fridays." Yeah, she
What
told you.
I got two options. I got two options. Talk about the
you
Panthers or
don't
get
get-
laid.
Nah, you just. Bro, you
What am
know
I? What am I going to do?
I'm
Yeah,
just
they
saying, you got to convince her to let you do both at the same time. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
man, do both.
Hey, there's a term for that. They call it pussy whipped. Anyway,
You damn right I am.
Next,
Be a man.
Yeah, so give me
You
your final
get on the
thoughts,
show,
bro.
then you get laid.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I
you're the
mean-
man. And you control what she does. You make sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay,
probably
Pickle.
not. Yeah, probably
Yeah,
not his
I've been
girlfriend.
married for
I'm
30
just
some
saying.
years. You tell her that, bro. What you?
She about to be a nurse. I'm not upsetting that shit.
We want that on video too, bro. Okay, set it up, and when you tell her that, it's all on video, and we can all see it.
Yeah, so we can watch
Yeah,
you
I'm
slap
sure.
the fuck out of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All right,
what we want to see.
Go ahead, Kev. Give me your final thoughts.
I mean, it's meh for me until free agency happens and then the draft. So my optimism might go up around then. But until I see some like real improvement in wins, it's always going to be low. So.
Yeah. Holding your thoughts until we see something. I hear that. I feel it.
I mean, Dan Campbell, his first year, won 3 games. So.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna have to be patient. Next up, my boy Michael Wydrick back on the show. Michael, we appreciate having you as always, brother. Give me your final thoughts, man.
Okay, my final thoughts before I get out of here is this. We have to stop getting overhyped about new coaches because honestly, if they're not working out for us, then they shouldn't be coaching because this is going to be the end of hopefully something that we've been going through for a while. And I'm not too overhyped about this coaching staff. So I hope that we can automatically fix this, get this done, and it's like C Dog said, if Bryce Young balls out this year or somewhere pointed to that, then I will shut up too, because I don't want to see a guy that can put up good stats and not put up wins. That's all I'm going to say. Now I'm out.
Yeah. If it's not winning, we don't want it. We don't want any of that nonsense. If they're not bringing the W's to Charlotte. Last but never least, one of the four horsemen of the C3 apocalypse, my man Codizzle Allen. I appreciate you jumping on again with me, man. Happy we were able to react to this together. What say you, man? Your final words for the show.
If you are looking at what we've seen happen over the past week, and you are already of the mind, I'm giving up on the Panthers, that's fine. Enjoy your time away. We don't really need you. It's not something that when you come back, I don't want there to be a matter of, I knew that this was going to happen. I'm so, I love Dave Canales. I love Bryce Young. I love this. I love that. It can't be any of that, right? You come in, you start enjoying the show, you start enjoying the Panthers, but don't you dare sit here and say you knew from the beginning. Don't you dare sit here and try to say that you were an advocate for that person from day one. You deserve to be able to enjoy the Panthers winning. We all do. But at the end of the day, these guys they're at 0-0. Both of these guys, Dan Morgan and Dave Canales. Until there's any evidence otherwise as to why they're in the positions that they are, we have to root for them. If you're a Panthers fan, you root for them. You hope that things go incredibly well, and it's okay to be reserved in your excitement. I'm reserved in my excitement. But I tell you what, it feels like a fresh start, and a fresh start after what we've been dealing with for the past 3 years, 4 years, 4.5 years, 5 years, really since 2017. A fresh start is going to be something that we desperately need. And if this turns out to be the guy, then we can all be excited and jump up and down for joy.
Heck yeah. I'm hoping that we can all jump for joy fairly here soon, man. Panther Pickle, give me your final words. And we're gonna get the hell up out of here, boys.
Yeah. I just want to say Canales wasn't on my top 5 list. I put a top 5 list on Twitter the other day. You people would my Slovic and Munkin were my top. I had Johnson on there, and I had the defensive McDonald, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, on it. My 5th one, I said it didn't matter. That was my list. That being said, I'm all right. I'm happy with this. I also didn't want Dan Morgan hired as the permanent GM, but it is what it is. And I mean, like I said before, David Tepper doesn't call me and ask me for advice. If he did, I'd damn sure give it, but he don't. So I take what I can get. I think we're going to be better. I think it's a slow process. Canales could work or he couldn't work. Okay, you don't know this. Nobody knows this. It's like screaming and yelling because this receiver or this person, any free agent, ain't coming here. You don't wear his underwear. You don't put on his britches at night or in the morning. So you don't know what he's going to do. So that's just my opinion. I have a lot of hope. I think we're going to be better. I think we're going to be better because I don't know how we could be worse.
Well, we might need to cool it on that too, because nobody thought we would be worse with Reich than Frank Rule or that Matt Rule is.
Right. I want to shout out to a gentleman in the chat. If he took offense to something C-Dog said, it wasn't meant to. I don't think it was meant to be that way. Nobody should use a derogatory term for a people of a different race.
Yeah, we love everybody here. Yeah, I don't think Sid Dog meant anything by it. I think everybody comes on the show. Everybody's got strong opinions. Everybody comes from different backgrounds. But here at C3, we love all the races, genders, and religions, man. As long as you're a Panther fan,
That's
We're
right.
gonna let you come kick it with C3, dog.
Don't worry about C-Dog. I take care of C-Dog.
All right, well, man, look, this has been another impromptu version of the C3 Panthers podcast, breaking some news. Dave Canales, the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. We will be back. We're going to be doing this again tomorrow at 7 p.m. for another edition of the C3 Friday Free-for-All, where just like this, you can be a part of the show and join the conversation. We'll probably have new news tomorrow about some of the specific details and just more things that'll come out in the wash over that time period. But my name is Cody Lashley. We will be back with the show tomorrow at 7 p.m. for another edition of the C3 Panthers podcast. We bid you farewell and tell you to keep pounding.